Good morning, my friends. Happy Friday to you. Let's get our heads right on a Friday morning. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. What a morning indeed. It is and will be throughout the day. Very excited to be here with you on a Friday. It's been a long week, been a very fruitful week as well for the Ben and Woods program. And, San Diego as a whole, at least the last couple nights as far as our baseball team is concerned. What a game last night. If you fell asleep, Hannah, you really missed out on quite a moment. Caitlin in the chat, she also fell asleep. She's also a big Jake Cronenworth fan. Missed the walk-off home run by Croney last night. Thank you, Croney, for bailing your old pals Ben and Woods out today. I did not want to talk to Country Ben today after blowing a 2-run lead in the 9th inning. I did not want to talk to Country Ben today. And I think it's going to be a little bit better tone and tenor. I'm Woodsy.
No sexy.
Hey, it was sexy. Thank you, Skip. I am Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. He is the executive producer. And what a night for Paulie last night. Just dropping D on everyone at his Tier 1 basketball game. What'd you get, 16, 18 points?
Something like that, yeah. We had a big win. We're in the – it's kind of like sweet and sour.
Sure.
We're in the consolation bracket, which isn't ideal.
Not ideal, but
we're also playing up a division.
You're playing up a division.
So we're in the consolation bracket. So we had the semifinals yesterday.
And you won.
Big win.
Huge.
So we're in the the Tier 1 baseball team is going for a championship on Sunday. The Tier 1 basketball team going for a championship next Thursday.
Tier 1s are just done. Tier 1s won the golf tournament the other day, too. I mean, we're really quite a sporty bunch.
What does playing up a division mean? Are you like a AA team playing in AAA?
Yeah,
or?
They have like D1, D2, D3, and I think maybe even a D4.
That would be for me. And Bo.
We've been playing D3 for the last 5 seasons, and we signed up for D3. I didn't even realize about halfway through the season, why are we in D2? They didn't.
Just getting your ass kicked every week.
Why does every team have 3 guys that just don't miss? I'm like, oh, we're up a level. They didn't have enough teams in D3, so they consolidated D3 and D4, and we ended up staying in D2. And
well, you made the consolation bracket, and you won the game.
It's like you accidentally put San Diego State in the SEC one season.
Yeah,
because
to play football.
They were down a team in football.
They're like, oh, what? Okay, I guess we'll do it for the
100%.
exposure. But, hey, listen, it probably made you a little better, but you weren't feeling great. Nobody was yesterday at all. And
we had 6 guys, so we had 1 sub.
Oh.
So if anybody got hurt, at one point I was like, I'm feeling a little nauseous. I'm not feeling good. And we powered through. We got the win.
We've had those adult ball games where 9 guys show up and you have a doubleheader, and you're like, "This is going to be the longest
Alex
day of
is
my
in
life."
the chat. He's on the team. He says, "Up a division really means it's a bunch of 30 and 40-year-olds going up against 20-year-olds that just graduated college or played college ball or something."
Yeah, and I already got a text from the Tier 1 commissioner of the league asking, "Are the Tier 1s moving up a division?" Next year, 18, AA. And I said, sure, that's what you want. We'll figure it out. So we've got to win this championship this weekend. I would love to see you guys out at Orange Glen High at 1 p.m. That's where it starts. And then if we win that game, we go to Escondido High at 5:30 for the ship. But we got to get through game 1 first. Not looking past those guys at all. But excited, man. It should be a fun weekend. It's been a really fun week. Benjamin Higgins is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. You are here this morning. You look much better than yesterday.
A little friendlier than yesterday. Yesterday was rough. Feeling a little bit better this morning. Got some sleep last night. Obviously, it's been an exhausting week. But you're right, it helps a little bit for the Padres to get a walk-off win. Everyone just feels a little bit better this morning.
Yeah, man, it really, really does. It changes a little bit of the vibe going into the weekend, certainly, but it was much needed, and it almost got away. And, of course, we've got all day to talk about that. I wanted to share with you guys in the Tier 1 something that happened yesterday that is truly, truly surreal and mind-blowing. Strap in for this one. And, Ben, I'm going to ask you for a little bit of I'm interested to see your take on this. I got a phone call from somebody. I'm going to leave his name out of the story. But I got a phone call from somebody that I consider a dear friend. And we check in with each other quite a bit. And he said to me, I haven't told you everything that's going on. I said, no, you haven't. And he said, I got a phone call from the FBI. I said, what? I said, oh, you done did it now.
What did you do?
What did you do? And I thought to myself, oh, man, I hope you're not caught up in anything major. And he said, no, got a phone call from the FBI. He said, do you remember when my father passed away 4 years ago? I said, I do. Yeah, awful for you. You know, he's a younger guy. He's younger than me. He said, man, have you heard this story going on in Colorado? And I said, oh. I said, vaguely, fill me in. He said, can you do lunch this week? I said, sure. I said, it works out perfectly. I've got 3 hours to kill between our roundtable on Thursday and the CEO meeting. And so, yeah, I'll come up to you. We'll go get lunch and we'll go hang out, sit down and start talking about what happened. Essentially, guys, his father picked this funeral home in Colorado 4 years ago. And he was sick. He was passing away of cancer, and he wanted to get his affairs in order. So he actually chose this funeral home because they are a green funeral home.
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly. Do things, allegedly, the right way. And so he says to me, yeah, you know, we got his ashes. We did a big ashes spreading ceremony at Mammoth. We put his ashes in the river and the whole thing. It was cathartic and awful and beautiful and everything that comes with losing a parent like that. He said, turns out, though, my father was one of the guys that the FBI had found in this funeral home's basement. Along with 189 other bodies that have been stacked in the basement of this funeral home in Colorado. And I just go, oh, God, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. And he said, it's been, and I said, all right, well, first things first, how are you? You know, this is gnarly. He goes, it's so beyond gnarly. I can't even, he goes, I have good days with it and I have bad days with it. He said, my mind wanders to that place of like, that was my dad down there in a basement when I thought I had him, you know, in my this urn, and then I thought I had spread his ashes.
So, wait, what? So what were they? Why were they keeping the bodies?
So
what was going on here?
So they had some major.
And what did they give him?
Right. So they had some major financial issues. There was a husband and wife team. In Colorado, they had two funeral homes, one in Colorado Springs and then one in like a little smaller town, Penrose. It's called small Rocky Mountain town of Penrose. People started to notice something is not right. There is a putrid smell coming out of the Penrose building. Had a makeshift refrigeration unit, but those weren't working when the bodies were found. And I said to him, I said, all right, like, why did they do this? I was trying to wrap my head around it. And he said to me, and I said, were they like harvesting stuff? He goes, no. Because I think when you're, you know, when you pass away, you can donate your body to science and things like that.
But there's not much left.
There's not much left
that you can do with a body.
Correct. What they're doing, let's say, Ben, you want to be cremated. And I say, okay, it's $2,000. You give me $2,000. Let's say it costs $500 for the process of the cremation. Well, I'm not going to even do anything. I'm just going to take your $2,000 and not actually go through with it. And so I talked to him about it, and I just said, I go, are you thinking about it pragmatically at all? Like, well, it was just a vessel. It's not my dad. He goes, yeah, I do have those moments. And then my mind wanders to my dad's been down there for 4 years, and I thought, now you have to relive everything that happened, and you have to re-mourn. It's almost like your father passes away twice.
Yeah.
You know? And so I said, what did they send you? And he goes, honestly, the investigators told me they found a huge order that was around the same time for quick dry concrete. And I go, oh, were they like building he goes, no. They were sending bags and urns full of quick dry concrete.
Because it looks like
ashes. So then he kind of laughed and he goes, what's funny is like, we poured concrete into a river, like a lot of concrete into a river. And I go, man, I am so sorry to hear that. And he goes, do you know how weird? He goes, I fully know this is going to be like a Netflix documentary. Like, I know there's going to be like something, because it's a married couple. He goes, it's a very salacious story. Man, he started telling me about the text messages between the couple. And it said, a couple text exchange. My one and only focus is keeping us out of jail. They were thinking about selling off assets to cover their expenses, worried about losing everything if they were exposed. This is pretty gnarly. He says, I want to take a shower as soon as I get back because while I was making the transfer, I got people juice on me. And then the next text to his wife was, want the double cheeseburger, lettuce wrapped with everything, minus tomatoes, please. Insane. Absolutely insane. So I just put my arms around him, told him I loved him, told him I'm sorry. And he said the FBI is going to be coming to his home in the next week to sit down and talk about it. Now, the cool thing was, he said, my dad was a bit of a rabble-rouser in his life. He worked in the fundraising business. And he said what he would do, it really through no fault of his own, but he would get jobs with fundraising departments, including a local university and things like that. And he said he would get in, kind of look around and go, there's a lot of corruption here. There's a lot of things going wrong here. There's a lot of unexplained lunches and expenses. He was kind of an S stirrer, right? Like coming in saying, no, this isn't right. And they said, hey, this is how we do things here. Well, that's not right. You're stealing. You're a charity. And he helped expose a lot of corruption. He goes, I think he would be so happy
almost
to
like
know.
a forensic accountant comes in and goes, these numbers don't
don't add up. And, he goes, people would try to silence him and quiet him. He goes, I really think, the thing that's giving me the most peace is I really think he would enjoy knowing he's a part of bringing these people down. And I said, man, I feel that. Like, if that helps you sleep, I fully subscribe to that. I said, but what a gnarly story, like that you're a part of this. A guy I love. I adore him. I've been friends with him for a long time. And, he's pretty shaken by the whole thing. I just said, man, I cannot imagine. I told Hannah, I said, I've said this on the air before. I want to be cremated as well. And I said, but I don't want you to, I'll maybe spread a little bit of me, some places I love. I'm going to send you to some far-flung areas, too, just to be a pain in the ass forever. And I said, I want all these kids to have an urn, and I want them to have to carry it around everywhere, every apartment they live in. There's Dad. Here's Dad. Like, I want to be a pain in your ass for the rest of your lives. I said, but I want you to see me go in to the thing, and you stand there with a cup at the end, like a soft serve machine. You know what I mean? Like, they push me in, and it comes out
like
the cup.
The buffet tray,
The
just
tray.
slide it over.
And then, okay, here's your dad. Like, I want you to see it. Because I don't want to get this. I don't want this to happen to me, number one. And number two, I don't want to, like, them looking around going, is that him? Or it doesn't matter. Just give them some ashes. I want to make sure I'm with my family for the rest of my life and their lives and all that. It's important to me. The thought of being, I know it's just my body. I know it's not my soul or whatever. But if I did know, I can't bear the thought of being in Jim and Cindy Johnson's living room and, my kid's got somebody else, or my wife has somebody else, and her new husband, looking at her ex-husband or her late husband. I couldn't bear the thought. So it was really crazy that he's a part of this. It's a national story. I mean, it is everywhere.
My biggest takeaway, and hopefully your friend, I would think that I could say it's not really my dad there. It's just an empty vessel, as you said.
Yep.
But the one thing that is very real and is very nightmare fuel is a basement filled with like almost 200 decomposing bodies. That really existed.
It really
and
existed.
That is horrifying.
Yeah, and
that is nightmare fuel.
So I said to him, how deep have you gone? He goes, I started to read one article, and it was talking about the bugs and flies. And he goes, I shut my computer. I was done. I go, buddy, don't do it until if you're ready one day to really, I have a little bit of morbid curiosity in me. Not when it would come to my parents. I would be so incensed by the whole thing. Now, another interesting part. Homeboy is a flight risk. The husband is a flight risk based on some texts and things that they have of his. She isn't. She's out on bail, living in Penrose, doing DoorDash, delivering groceries to families of victims that they have done this to. And my mind just went,
God.
And so, yeah, dude, it was like, I sat at lunch yesterday. I was exhausted, but I sat like this. in rapt attention, just going, holy crap, man. So, yeah, hugged him at the end, told him, please call me after the FBI leaves your condo and let me know how it goes. But, yeah, very, very gnarly story. Very gnarly story. So I wanted to share. Yeah, I asked him, I said, can I share that story? He goes, absolutely, please. Like, it's just another reminder of, like, do your research, I guess. There's really no way to tell if you're getting scammed or whatever. Just watch your back, I think, is the moral of the story. Watch your back and try to make the best decision that you can. Reputable places and whatnot. And, yeah, very, very crazy. Crazy story.
Just when you think Ben Woods is going to zig, we zag.
That's exactly
to
right.
Start the mornings. Let's just jump off from there and probably get into some, Padres stuff in a minute. We'll set the menu when we come back and get to the highlights. What a game last night. I mean, there's a lot to break down in a 7-6 win. Not just the walk-off home run, but top to bottom, that game had many, many key moments to open the homestand. So we'll talk all about that coming up. Set the menu first, a quick check of traffic, and then we are off and running. It is Friday. Glad to have everybody with us on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We were just talking about. Did you watch the Rick Wood Field game yesterday? I did. I watched it as well, and,
awesome.
and we'll discuss it a little bit later today, probably at 8:30 during our Reindl Report. But it was. Well, let me just say it's easy to be cynical about big events that Major League Baseball puts on. I think for the most part they did a really nice job last night on that Cardinals-Giants game in Alabama at the oldest professional ballpark in America, and Fox for the most part did a good job as well with the entire broadcast and the event.
Yeah, I mean, other than human Ambien himself, Joe Davis calling the game, it was great. It was great.
I didn't get a chance to watch any. I saw the clip. Did they play like a whole half inning in black and white?
Yeah, the old style with the old camera angles like
cool.
they used to.
It was pretty cool.
I certainly wouldn't want to watch a whole game like that.
No, it was. I mean, it was cool. Bo came in and asked, "What's this game?" And I told him about it and the significance of it, and then we were talking about Willie Mays, and I showed him a picture or a video of the catch, and he watched the catch and he goes, "Oh, that's easy," and I go, "It's not. It's not easy." He goes, "Oh, it's an easy catch." I go, "It's not." He said, "Yeah."
He didn't even get under it. I mean,
I go, "Bo, he's in it wasn't a World Series game, wasn't it?" I go, "He's in a dead sprint. His back's to the infield. He looks, he doesn't even really look back. He puts his glove up, catches it, turns around, makes a great throw. It's easy." I go, you have what it takes to be a ball player if you think that was an easy catch." I was like, "Why don't you catch one in the infield that pops up straight to you first, and then we'll worry about the ones over the shoulder." But I tweeted he's going to be a natural fit on Padres Twitter one day.
They had a moment of silence for Willie Mays at Petco Park last night, and then Willie Mays' name got invoked again later in the day when Jackson Merrill hit his 6th home run in the past 8 games, and the statistical gurus dug into the archives to find, has any other 21-year-old or younger center fielder ever done that in their lives? And then, of course, there was only one who has ever done that at age 21 or younger, and it is Willie Mays. And now Jackson Merrill has done it, 6 home runs in a span of 8 games.
It's good company,
which is pretty incredible. We'll go through the entire game with our Padres Wrap-Up coming up in our next segment. If you did not hear the radio highlights last night, I certainly recommend that you stay tuned to hear Jesse's walk-off call, the longest home run of the season by a San Diego Padre, back-to-back home runs in the first inning. There were also some absolutely key defensive plays and, some bullpen hijinks that made that game quite a bit more stressful than it needed to be. But we'll talk about it all coming up in our next segment, our Padres Wrap-Up. 7 o'clock hour. Take on Woods, last chance this week to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas, along with Don't Do This. And then we'll talk more Padres baseball. Paulie has it planned on the rundown. We mentioned it yesterday. This is the 6-year anniversary of Ice Cube's.
5-year.
5-year anniversary of Ice Cube's appearance here on Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan, when I got to read raps for Ice Cube. So we're going to do a little throwback Ben reads raps today.
Oh, good.
Coming up at 7:50 like we used to do on Fridays
in
the past. So we will bring that back today. Just a little special one-off for you. 8 o'clock, it is a Grand Ole Barbecue Friday. That means Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue is going to be with us to talk some baseball in our 8 o'clock hour. As I mentioned, Reindl Report at 8:35 because on Fridays, we talk to the manager. Our manager's report with Mike Shildt at 9 o'clock. And, be kind of mixed bag since we last talked to Mike Shildt. 5-game losing streak, but also 2 wins and coming back home with the walk-off victory last night should at least soften the conversation just a little bit after what happened the last couple of days. Yeah,
I mean, honestly, you have to ask him about the bullpen woes right now, certainly, and Yuki Matsui it probably being at the forefront of those. And he did explain, and I didn't stay up for the post game. I rarely do, especially when we're going to talk to him the next day. The explanation of why Estrada and not Suarez last night is an interesting one. We could talk about that, certainly. But, yeah, man, great win. Almost a devastating loss. But, we don't complain about wins around here, but we can dig deep into what the hell's going on with the bullpen. And there's some major issues there.
And then we still have one more pair of Doobie Brothers tickets to give away, like we have done all week long. You just have to listen for our special Doobie Brothers sounder. But what a fool believes. All right, that could come at any time. When you hear it, either during the show, during a break, whenever, call 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, and we'll send you to the Doobie Brothers, who are going to be performing on June 25th at North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Last pair of tickets to win this week. So that's what we have planned for you today. Let's take a break because I want to come back. We have so much to talk about from last night's game. I want to get an early start here on our Padres Wrap-Up. It's coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Woods just pointed out to me that it is National Flip-Flop Day, a very important holiday for me, as I am not only wearing my flip-flops, as I always do, but I'm also wearing my Flying Chanclas hat, which is the AA alternates for the San Antonio Missions. Chanclas, of course, Spanish for flip-flops. So, happy National Flip-Flop Day out there.
What are the odds? And you didn't know?
I did not know.
That,
Just a coincidence.
you wear that hat not very often.
No.
That's wild. Just works out that way sometimes.
Goes well with our color scheme today because it's a City Connect Friday. Paulie's wearing his Padres City Connect hat. We've got our City Connect colors on our YouTube stream today.
Yeah, we do.
Woods, even you're in kind of a pink, like City Connect pink.
Yeah, I like this color.
Goes well today. Everybody's on theme on a Friday, just kind of accidentally.
It's like a salmon. Is this a salmon?
Salmon? No, I'd say it's a little darker than a salmon.
Coral.
I like that, Paulie.
I like that.
Coral.
I like that.
Very nice. All right, this hour on Ben & Woods is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe today, June 21st, for National Smoothie Day. We're treating our Tropic Rewards members to a free smoothie with a bowl or food purchase. Order in the app, online, or pop by the cafe for a little sip and chill. 3 cheers to our Tropic fam. Terms and conditions apply. All right, we're going to get to our Padres wrap-up. Now, correct me if when the game started, and I knew it's Adam Major on the mound, and the bullpen is somewhat depleted going into this game, I thought, okay, you probably need to score at least 7 or 8 runs to win this game.
No question.
I never had a doubt that was what it was going to take. Even after they scored 4 in the first, I go, it's a good start, but it's not enough. If you don't score again, you're not going to win this game.
Yeah.
And for a while, then, it stayed 4-1. I go, well, maybe I'm wrong about that. No, I was right. They needed to score more runs. Of course, they did. It took a walk-off home run. We'll get the call of the walk-off and the rest of the action last night in our Padres wrap-up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danek.
Guys, just one problem here. Looks like tow truck is still on scene of a crash in the Fallbrook area, southbound 15 past Mission Road. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danek with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Oh, my God, I'm so stiff.
Miss any of the Padres win yesterday? Ben and Woods didn't.
What up, crew?
We've got you covered with all of the highlights.
I like it when the Padres win.
Yeah! Yeah! It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else. Yeah!
Give me a do damage.
Do damage!
Now the 2-2, Yelich swings, grounds it to first base. Arise has it in front of the bag, coming home. The slide in the tag, not in time. Durang just in, feet first, ahead of the tag from Luis Campusano. Padres, of course, will take a look and see if they want to challenge it. It was a bang play at home plate. Manny waits, here it comes, and Machado swings, hits it in the air to deep right field. Frelick is back towards the corner. He's at the wall, looking up, gonna go! 3-run homer, Manny Machado. Just like that, the Padres lead it 3-1 here in the first. 0-2 hit in the air, deep to right field towards the pole. Jackson Merrill has done it again. 9th of the season for Merrill. Goes deep in back-to-back games and has now homered 3 times in his last 2 games here at Petco Park. It's 4-1. 1-2. Adames swings, hits it in the air to deep center. Merrill sprinting straight back at the wall. It's going to go. Line drive, home run, straight away center field. Team leading 13th of the season for Adames. This is a 1-run game now. 4-3 in the 5th. That's it in the air to deep left field. Forget it. Yelich not even going to turn around. Second deck in left. And Fernando, with his 14th of the year, extends the lead. 446 feet. And his 3rd hit of the night. Padres in front 5-3. Here's the pitch. Swung on, lined into left field. Yelich to his left, lost it in the lights, and it gets beyond him. Fernando's racing to third. He's going to be waved. Tatis on his way home. The throw is cut. And another miscue defensively for the Brewers gives the Padres their 6th run of the night. 1-1 the pitch. Turang swings, lines it the other way, and that is down in front of Peralta. Base hit. They are going to wave Ortiz around, and he will score just ahead of the throw. RBI single, Bryce Turang, his third knock of the night. It is now 6-4 here in the 8th inning, and you got to figure that'll be all for Wandy Peralta. Here's the pitch from Estrada. It bounces in, kicks away, and the run is going to score. Yelich in from third. Behind the play, Bowers goes to second, a wild pitch, and now a 6-5 game. Here's the 2-2. Hoskins swings, muscles it in the air to deep left field as Zokar's going back. He will leap up, can't make the catch, hits against the wall. This will tie the game. Bowers has scored. Hoskins into second with an RBI double, and it's 6-6. Pitch number 7 on the way, and Cronenworth swings, hits it in the air to deep right field. Way back, gonna go! For the third consecutive game here at Petco Park, the Padres hit a walk-off home run. Higashioka and Merrill. And now Jake Cronenworth, who throws his helmet as he approaches home plate. The Padres beat the Brewers 7-6.
Pretty impressive, pretty amazing. Grit squad strikes. Yeah, I mean, especially coming back, fought the whole way down. You know, Mazer battled, get the lead right back, extend, have it late, can't hold on to it, and just found a way. And clearly a big swing by Croney and third walk-off and row at home. Good stuff, memorable, historic probably.
Indeed it was. After a little bit of research, they found out that is the first time in Padres franchise history that they've had 3 consecutive home games end with walk-off home runs. Of course, the first 2 happened at the end of the last homestand against the Oakland A's. Kyle Higashioka, Jackson Merrill, and now Jake Cronenworth keeps the streak going. Who's going to make it tonight? 4 in a row with another walk-off. Do we have to have a walk-off every day?
We can actually just win normally. We can just win a normal game and hold a lead in the 9th and have our bullpen not give up any runs. And yeah, that would be the preferable prescription for a victory tonight. But we all realize baseball does not work that way.
Hey, if you're going to blow a lead, at least have the walk-off after that.
The feeling of deflation when they tied the game off of Estrada in my home by me was painful. I mean, it was painful. I just looked up and I said, please don't do this. I'm begging you, don't do this. They did it.
Let's start at the beginning, though, because not heard in that highlight package was probably the most important play of the game other than the walk-off home run. And that was in the first inning when Adam Mazur was in trouble. He was a run was in, the bases were loaded. He was on the ropes already. You could easily see that getting away from him. The Padres having to go to a bullpen day in the first or second inning, and they would not have been able to overcome that. And Manny Machado started an incredible double play to get out. I think it was on Hoskins, to get out of the first inning with just the 1 run allowed. He made a terrific play, and then the throw to second with a great scoop and turn by Jake Cronenworth. I mean, just to make that catch and get the 1 out is probably above and beyond. But then to make the turn, and then Arise made a nice scoop. You never thought that even had a chance to be a double play, and it really stabilized things and, of course, allowed the Padres to take that 4-1 lead in the bottom of the first inning. But that game could have gone very bad very quickly if not for a terrific play by Manny Machado.
Yeah, I mean, that's correct me if I'm wrong. You can't make that play if you're on the IL. Is that right? I don't know much about baseball, but I do know if you're on the IL, that's not one.
I don't think Donovan Solano makes that play at third.
Yeah.
Okay, he doesn't make that play at third. Probably nobody else on the roster makes that play at third.
Huh. Interesting.
That was a Manny Machado special.
Interesting.
And then,
very interesting.
And then he goes the other way, moments later for the 3-run shot. And
now, hold on. Can you do that?
You cannot.
No. Oh,
you cannot.
I was told that's where he should be. Yikes.
I mean, there was a conversation.
Purple says half the roster makes that play. Purple, I know who you are. Don't be an idiot.
Should I put him in timeout?
No, we don't put him
Is that Bo? That's an easy catch.
Yeah, Bo, that's an easy double play.
Catch.
That's an easy double play. No, the pick from Croney was nasty. I mean, as nasty. Now that's, you second baseman, you're now a first baseman on that play. And Jake's got plenty of reps over it at the one bag and makes just a fantastic pick, turn, gets a guy by half a step, and out of that inning, man, which is huge. I honestly, I was watching last night and you could feel it like spiraling on Major. I don't know what to make of Adam Major. I don't look at him and say, well, listen, he's got really. I don't look at him and say he's got really, really good stuff. He just needs some time to work it out. I honestly, Benny, I look and with the walks and stuff, the lack of control and the fat pitches, man, fat pitches. He threw a couple of decent sliders, a decent changeup, but man, some of the sliders were spinning right in the zone, and the fastballs were fat.
I think what is hopefully encouraging is that it's not like that was ever a part of his game in the minors. He doesn't walk people.
Right.
It seems to be maybe a big moment pressure. Trying to adjust to the big league level, being too fine. I think at some point Adam Major is going to be a big league pitcher. I don't see him as an ace of the staff type, but I can see him as a end of the rotation. Yeah. Solid starter, but there's still some work to be done, to get there in the big league level.
And he did pretty well.
He stabilized after that. Nearly made it through 5 innings.
Almost made it through 5
until the 2-run home run by Adames. But I would imagine that was his last start. He will probably go back down. I would think today you send him back down to AAA and you call up a bullpen arm to have another option out of what is a fatigued bullpen. And then in 4 days, you can call Yu Darvish up off the injured list to make the next start. But that would give you an extra arm available for the next 4 days or so.
Yeah, you wonder what the corresponding move is going to be. Could be Logan Gillespie, could be Tom Cosgrove. You have no idea, but they definitely need some help in there ASAP because the bullpen is 100% battered right now, man. And I was looking up some numbers of some of the guys in there. And look, as much as we want Yuki Matsui to be the guy, I just don't know that he's the guy right now. I'm not saying he's never going to be the guy, but Ben, he's got a 4 ERA in 34 appearances. Okay, he's pitched 31 in the third innings. He has struck out 27, not bad. He's walked 20 batters. 20 batters. That is unacceptable.
And so many of those feel like they were the first batter of the inning.
Yeah, man, 100%.
Which just puts you in such a bad spot. Now, I haven't seen the numbers, but it feels like when Yuki Matsui comes in and the Padres are down 3.
I got him. You want him?
Yeah, go ahead.
Low leverage.
Yeah.
Hitters 163 with a 486 OPS. Perfect. Low leverage situations. High leverage 241, 760 OPS. Of the 42 batters he's faced in high leverage, he struck out 12. But he's also walked 9, allowed 2 doubles and a triple. Not quite the setup stuff that you're looking for from Yuki Matsui, and which is fine. I mean, use him in the role in which he is best accustomed. I don't know that it's the role he was used in last night, as much as we want it to be that way. As devastating as that splitter looked early in the year, if you can't land it if you can't keep it in the zone to make it look like a strike, you don't have the overpowering other pitches to get out.
Last night's game was such a microcosm of the Padres bullpen because Matsui actually didn't give up a run because Wandy Peralta came in and struck out Gary Sanchez. Great job by Wandy Peralta, but then Wandy comes out the next inning and walks 2 batters, and then 1 run comes around to score, and then De Los Santos comes in and he gets a big strikeout, and then Jeremiah Estrada, obviously, who and Mike Shildt said this after the game. Because
this is
what
I was curious about.
Why Jeremiah Estrada? Why not Robert Suarez? Both had been used the previous 2 days. Jeremiah Estrada had pitched 4 of 5 days now. But Mike Shildt said, I went to both of those guys to just check on their availability before the game. And I said, be honest. How do you feel? And Robert Suarez said, I would love to be able to go, but I think I need a day. And Shildt said, you got it. Robert, you are off. You got that quote here?
Estrada was able to take the ball.
I give him a ton of credit, man. We were both him and Suarez had gone back to back. Took their temperature before the game. Want to be mindful of it. Suarez was honest. Look, man, I love this group because I always say they can go, but we always, hey, really, how do you feel? And he's like, I could use a day. So we clearly respect that. Jeremiah said, I'm good. I feel good. I can take the ball. And, he had a longer inning than we'd have liked. It was the last hitter he was going to face. But, man, my admiration for him taking the ball and doing that is very high.
I think the other, one of the ways that could have gone out of control was when they all came out and met with Major about Willy Adames. And essentially, what the message there was. It was, all right, one swing and they're right back in this game. Adam, we need you to execute here. And when Willie hit it, I just immediately thought, well, who could have seen that coming right there? I'm not putting that on Shildt at all. Willy Adames is a really good player, put a good swing on a pitch that was up in the zone and pounded it out, man. And it just, but when you don't have a ton of options down there that are well rested, ready to go, managing this bullpen it can be a nightmare.
It's easy to say Jeremiah Estrada failed because he blew the save, he gave up the lead, and that's not your job when you come in the ninth inning. However, and I was listening to Sammy Levitt last night on the postgame show, and I think it's a good point that you need to get 27 outs to win the baseball game. Doesn't mean you have to, hold everybody in check, but you have to get to the finish line. And the Padres needed someone to get to the finish line. And even though he gave up the 2 runs, he did come up with 2 big strikeouts to at least get it to 6-6 to the bottom of the ninth where Jake Cronenworth won it. So while he didn't do the way you would like it to be done, he did enough that the Padres were able to win that game.
Yeah,
and sometimes
he didn't cough it up.
Sometimes you have to win games like that. That was always going to be a game. As I said, you got to score 7, 8 runs to win that game. With Major on the mound against a Brewers team like that was never going to be a 3-1 win. It wasn't.
No, there's no way.
And the Padres got to the finish line. It wasn't always pretty. It wasn't exactly how you draw it up, but they got to the finish line of the game last night, and that's what's most important. The finish, of course, was fantastic. We already heard Jesse's call. Paulie's got a couple of other options for us here.
Yes. How about we start? Let's go to Don. We'll start with the TV call.
3-2 pitch to Cronenworth. In the air to deep right field for Cronenworth. Back towards the pole. Into the crowd zone. And gone. Padres walk it off.
You knew Don would work the Crone zone somewhere in there.
Oh, I had to.
Let's see. We have the Brewers call.
Brewers television
That's not
call.
going to be as happy.
That's all you need, really. Oh.
Deep right field. It is a fair ball and a walk-off homer. He hung a slider. And Cronenworth makes him pay.
It was a hung pitch.
It was very hung. That was very hung.
And then, of course, we can't do the montage of walk-offs without our friends from Korea.
Picote.
Fantastic. I would also like to, who's their second baseman? Turang?
Turang.
I would like to thank him for booting that double play ball that Croney hit in the first inning.
Yeah, it's oftentimes baseball is the game where if you take advantage of the mistake, the Brewers couldn't take advantage of Adam Azier in the first. The Padres took advantage of a tiny bobble that allowed them to keep the first inning going.
And still damn near got Croney at first. I mean, it was a close play at first base, but holy smokes, man, he comes up next, hits the 3-run bomb, and Padres are off and rolling. But that was a hell of a game. Hell of a first game in what should be a good series. Holy cow.
All right, we got Dylan Cease on the mound for Game 2 tonight against former Padre Colin Ray. Talk about that a little bit later. When we come back, we've got Take on Woods, your chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. Don't do this and more all ahead in hour number 2 of Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan.
Looking for the Spanish broadcast call. Paulie found it. Love Eddie Ortega.
Got to complete the walk-offs.
You got to complete it. Yeah, it's like an unresolved melody when you don't get to hear Eddie Ortega. You're missing a note, you know?
Oh, no, it just went away. Hang on, give me one
Oh,
second.
no, son of a...
I was ready.
It was
in the last
there,
segments.
and now it's gone.
I got to search through the broadcast and find it again.
Sorry, buddy.
I will find it.
No worries. Padres beat the Milwaukee Brewers 7-6 on a walk-off home run by Jake Cronenworth last night. First game of a 7-game homestand. The entire National League, let's just say, I think Padres are now tied for that last wild card spot. Now Paulie's got it.
Got Eddie Ortega last night on the call.
Está tremendo. En 3-2, palo por la derecha. Vuela la bola. Puede ser el final. Por dentro. Se va. Crony de Michigan. Apaga las luces. Se acabó el juego. Su segundo walk-off home run. A la calle. Ganaron los Padres.
A la calle. The street, into the street. I have played ball before with some of my buddies. We joined a team from L.A., and we played a tournament together, and somebody hit a bomb, and they all yelled that, and I thought it was just the coolest thing I had ever. I thought they said para la calle, but I guess it was a la calle. Yeah, to the street, to the street. Oh, that's the best, man. Yeah, out the street. Yeah, that's so good, man. So good. Love it. Great one.
Calle!
Ah, la calle! Fantastic.
Ah, la calle!
Fantastic stuff last night.
After losing 5 in a row, the Padres doing what they have done so many times this year. Now you creep back up toward 500, a game under 500 again. It's that magnet. They can never seem to escape more than 3 games above or below 500. I think once they got 4 games under 500. Other than that, they've been within 3 games of 500 every single day of this season.
Staggering, isn't it? I mean, staggering.
Which, of course, and a lot of people will then say, well, that means you are a mediocre 500 team. And at some point, you're going to have to acknowledge the fact that if they don't go on a stretch where they can, put more than a couple of weeks together and get 6 or 7 games above 500, then that is what you are. A 500 team. You're not bad. You're not good. You're just there in the middle. You haven't played yourself out of anything.
No.
As I was just saying, I think they're in the 3rd wild card spot again after the win last night. But you could be in 5 days. You could be at the bottom of the pack, or you could be at the top of the heap because everyone's so bunched up together in the National League right now.
Yeah, I mean, you never want to get to the point at the end of the year, Ben, where you're waiting on when other teams control your fate. That's just not a good. It's not the best way to go into it. And I know the Padres have backed into a playoff spot before. I think we lost to the Brewers that day at home. And, so-and-so lost, so we're in. That was a really weird day. You guys remember that when it happened?
The 22?
Yeah, 22.
I think it was Chicago. I think we were playing the White Sox.
Were we playing the White Sox? Or maybe the Brewers lost? I can't remember. But I thought the Brewers were involved somehow. And I was like, it was one of those oh,
I was there.
Cool.
I was
It
down
a day
there,
game.
there by the field with Sammy Levitt, kind of in the tunnel, waiting for the game to end because you knew they clinched in like the 7th inning or something, but we were losing, and it was like golf claps, like okay, cool, we're in,
very cool,
and then there's strike 3, final out, Padres lose, and the players are kind of still standing around, so do we get the playoff clinching T-shirts,
the hats and
the
stuff?
hats?
It was so weird, and I just remember. I remember the next time we talked about it, I was like, "Is that not perfect for this friggin' team? Is that not perfect? Lose, you're in. I'd love to not have to be in that position again."
Well, I don't think it will happen this year, just because unless the Padres start playing better, you're going to have to win your way in.
Yeah,
to separate yourself from some of these teams. That year, they at least had built enough of a cushion where you don't have to win every game down the stretch. Like you're saying, put yourself in a position where
sucked, though.
It's okay.
I get it. It just sucked.
And that happens. That happens every year. The team gets in because another team loses.
Yeah,
it's baseball.
It does.
You want to be in the position where you're comfortable enough that you don't have to win every game down the stretch.
No doubt.
Last year they had to win every game down the stretch, and they lost twice out of that 16-game stretch, and that they missed the playoffs by 2.
By 2.
You can't put yourself in that position again.
What else about last night's game bugged you a little bit? Was there anything else that bugged you? I thought, look, it's such a hard position. It's such a hard position, the catching position. But I just, there's been a couple of lapses from Campy lately and defensively, and it's just like, oh, you want it for him so bad. He's finally getting his chance to, be really the everyday catcher, and has lost a little bit of playing time to Higgy recently. But it's like I said, it's such a hard position, and 15 guys throwing different stuff at you. I understand it. Just a couple of moments. It just seems to happen in some really key moments. I will tell you this: that man's been getting worn out. I hope he has gone to the bank to freeze his boys before. Honestly, like I legit thought about that last night. I'm like, this guy is wearing one to the dong every single night that he plays somehow. And but I looked at that and I'm like, man, if he could clean it up, Other than that, I thought it was a pretty well played game. For the most part, guys are giving effort, man. There's no question they're giving effort, and the thing is, you have to grind so hard to get victories like that, and it does have that. You have that sinking feeling in your head where you go, "Are they any good? Are they any good? Are they? I know they're not great, but are they any good?"
If Luis Campusano hit Mike Piazza, you go fine, whatever.
What, bro? Have a ball.
But he doesn't hit well enough. The metrics are really bad when it comes to everything. Framing, blocking, throwing out runners. He's not a good defensive catcher right now.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that he can't get better, but he's not a good defensive catcher. Mike Shildt will say, if we ask him about it, I know what he'll say. Say, we're happy with how he's managing the pitching staff. That's the most important thing that a catcher does. He's working well with our pitchers, making them comfortable. But ultimately, I just don't know how true that is, that is the only thing that matters. Because if you're not hitting enough and you're not playing good defense behind the plate, he's a negative value catcher at this point.
Yeah, it's tough, man. You really do want it for him and hope that he could be that guy that can help bridge to Ethan Salas, because again, everything you hear about Ethan Salas defensively is he's got the potential, Ben, to be one of the next great ones.
But he now seems like he's at least 3 years away.
Yeah, I would say 2.5, 3 years. So yeah, but you need Campy to step up in that time and be the guy, man. Try to win a championship for this team and in this city. And you watch it. I hate to use the word lazy because there's some lapses from time to time. And again, I fully submit that it is the hardest position. I mean, it is just almost impossible to do. But I guess I'm encouraged by a couple of things. But yeah, I mean, he doesn't really throw runners out well at all. And like you said, the defensive metrics just aren't great right now. But this is what we got.
To answer your question, there was one thing that did annoy me last night. I will share that. First, though, we need a contestant for Take on Woods. Give us a call if you want to play against Woodsy, our musical trivia challenge, for a chance to go to Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. Call right now. We're going to play in about 2 minutes, so call 833-288-0973 for a chance to take on Woods here on a Friday morning. Also remind you, we did it yesterday, but you can tune in every Thursday at 10 a.m. for 97.3 The Fans commercial-free Padres Roundtable featuring Ben and Woods, Annie and Elston, and Gwynn and Chris, presented by San Diego Roundtable Pizza. For takeout or delivery, go to roundtablepizza.com. Roundtable, the last honest pizza. I know I'm a broken record here, and the umpiring, especially behind the plate, was awful. Both sides. Padres benefited sometimes. Yeah. They got hurt sometimes. There was no rhyme nor reason to what was called a strike.
No, it wasn't like
sometimes 2 inches off the plate was a strike. Sometimes on the plate was a ball.
Well, like Yelich, the pitch that Yelich got rung up on was terrible. But the pitch before was a strike, and he got another opportunity at it. It was the pitch to Kim as well. Holy smokes! I
thought the check swing rulings at first base were awful. It just was. It seemed like a very inconsistent night for the umpiring crew last night, especially behind home plate on the balls and strikes. Like, it's hard enough trying to figure out, throw this one here. Mazur had one where up and in, had a perfect strike.
Then
threw the exact same pitch the next pitch, and it's called a ball. It's like, but you just called that a strike. And so I went right back there, and I threw the perfect pitch, and now you call it a ball this time.
Yeah, it was tough, man. It was tough. And I don't know if it's a symptom of the starting pitchers for both teams being a little bit wild and inconsistent to start. I think they both locked in pretty well after the first inning, but that may have set the tone. I've got no idea. Again, I'm going to sit here and bitch about it because I don't have to get back there and do it. I realize, again, that is another very hard thing to do. But holy smokes, I mean, let's try to get some consistency. If you're going to be calling 2 inches out and I pound, okay, fine. Like, and everybody knows that. They just want consistency. Even if it's up, down, in, out, if it's the same all night, you don't care. You figure out and you make your adjustments. But it was, like you said, no rhyme or reason whatsoever. Really, the pitch to Yelich was gnarly. I mean, it was one of the worst I've seen.
All right, I think we got a contestant here. You ready to go?
Yeah, ready.
All right, let's play a little Friday Take on Woods. All right, let's pick. Let's go to. Is this Jason?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Jason.
All right, you are in, Jason. Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. 5 questions head-to-head. If you beat or tie Woods, put you into our grand prize drawing for the trip. For 2-night stay at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, tickets to either Hootie and the Blowfish or Smashing Pumpkins, and a $150 poolside dining credit. Summer room packages and tickets are available now at FontainebleauLasVegas.com. All right, here are your category choices this morning. Got It's Not False. We got Rick's Cafe, which is a musical artist named Rick. And our new category is D's Bands. Those are band names that begins with the letters D-E. Jason, what do you like? It's Not False, Rick's Cafe, or D's Bands?
Let's go D's Bands.
D's Bands. All right, he's going with a new category today. Again, 5 bands whose names begins with the letter D-E. 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5. If you don't know an answer, say pass so we can come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First questions are 2-second song. Paulie will play some music. You need to give me both the song title and that artist that begins with D-E to score that point. Jason, are you ready?
Let's go.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. Paulie, you ready? All right, Paulie's ready. Category is D's Bands. Your time begins when Paulie plays the music. Good luck, Jason. Let's take on Woods.
Step inside, walk this way, you and me, babe. Hey, hey.
Def Leppard, pour some sugar on me.
That is correct. Which English band's 1981 debut album Speak and Spell included the breakthrough hit Just Can't Get Enough?
Oh, man. Pass.
Which Smoke on the Water rockers were listed in the 1975 Guinness...
Depeche Mode.
That is the last one is Depeche Mode. Which Smoke on the Water rockers were listed in the 1975 Guinness Book of... Correct. Fronted by Eric Clapton, which band released only one album? Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs.
Derek and the Dominoes.
Correct. Bunny, Randy, Mark, and Elle were all members of which family band, notable for 1985's Rhythm of the Night?
DeBarge.
DeBarge. Very good. That's a 5 for 5, and you are in the drawing for Las Vegas. Congratulations, Jason. Hang on the line. We'll get your information in just a minute. Let's see if Woods can handle this category. Doesn't get the benefit of knowing what he's trying to go for here, but we'll see. I think he'll do pretty well here. 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Jason.
Pour some sugar on me. Def Leppard.
Correct. Which English band's 1981 debut album Speak and Spell included the breakthrough hit Just Can't Get Enough?
Depeche Mode.
Correct. Which Smoke on the Water rockers were listed
Deep Purple.
Correct. Fronted by Eric Clapton, which band released one album only? Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs.
Derek and the Dominoes.
Correct. Bunny, Randy, Mark, and Elle were all members of which family band, notable for 1985's Rhythm of the Night?
Like, this is the rhythm of the night. That one?
I don't know if it's that one or not, actually.
Give me the names again.
Bunny, Randy, Mark, and Elle were all members of which family band, notable for 1985's Rhythm of the Night? I think it's a different Rhythm of the Night.
I think it might be.
The rhythm of the night.
Oh. I don't know.
Don't know that one, huh?
The Taint Sisters.
Oh, that's too bad because
Sisters of
Jason
Taint.
got
That's an
5
L.
and you got
Son of
4,
a
which means that's an L. L's last name is DeBarge.
DeBarge!
L DeBarge, Bunny DeBarge, Randy DeBarge, and Mark DeBarge. In the category.
What was the category?
D's bands. They all
D's
started
bands!
with DE. Def Leppard, Depeche Mode, Deep Purple, Derek and the Dominoes, and DeBarge. Well, Jason.
That's a hell of a game right there.
That is a terrific win for you, and best of luck in the Las Vegas drawing. Again, Paulie will get your information here during the break, but a well-played game. He got you today.
Very well played. I'm not mad at getting four right and lose. I feel like Jeremiah Estrada. I can go if you need me. You burn through me a little bit, but
you've you've had a bit of a overuse week, maybe.
Yeah, overused a little bit lately on the from the bullpen, but it's fine. Hey, what was his name?
Jason.
Congratulations, Jason. That was anytime you get 5, it's pretty good. I felt like I was cruising through that one. That last one got me.
Podzilla says you got squeezed by the umps a little bit. Yeah.
I did. Well, when you don't get the category, you do get squeezed.
It's a little harder, yeah, for sure.
I don't know that I would have gotten it, though.
All right, we've got Don't Do This coming up next, including a return appearance by Pete Fairbanks.
For Do This.
Yes,
he's phenomenal. Like I love him. Love him. Wish he was here.
That's coming up next after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This is brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sereno Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. It's thecrafttaco.com. And to start us on Don't Do This, Stephen Woods.
Cleveland Browns defensive lineman Lonnie Phelps was arrested on Wednesday night. Drinking and driving with a twist.
Not an olive?
Not an olive, a twist.
Okay.
He crashed his SUV into a restaurant, which is never a good look, right? And then refused to cooperate with a police investigation afterward. All happened around 8:47 in Key West at the Red Shoe Island Bistro in Key West. Cops say they were dispatched to the scene. When they arrived, they saw a black Hyundai wedged into the side of the eatery. Officers asked him who was inside the vehicle. Phillips and his girlfriend were ID'd. So there's video of him kind of yelling at the cops, screaming, "I'm dying of thirst." Wow. That's what's important, Lonnie. And the Browns originally said, okay, we are collecting information. And then the Browns yesterday at 12:57 p.m. have waived defensive end Lonnie Phelps. He has cost himself a job.
The Chiefs are going, this guy would fit in right with our roster.
100%.
We should pick him up.
Pick
now
him
that he's
right up. A
available.
little depth for them. But
That's a lot. I mean, $300,000 in damage.
Yeah,
is,
man.
There's a lot of damage.
But again, please remember, every NFL player has a card in his wallet that he can call at any time from anywhere, no questions asked, for a ride. Every single time. All you got to do is call the number. It's like the players' union number, and somebody will come scoop you, no questions asked, take you right to your home.
It's a nice little service.
I think they'll come back and get your car for you, drop it back.
Yeah.
Like it's
I think they'll bring two people, one to drive you, one to drive your car to your house or wherever you're going.
Why wouldn't you use that every time even if you thought about having a glass of champagne at a toast for somebody's engagement? Like
anything.
It's a no-brainer, man. I mean, now the guy's out of a job. He's out of a job. And again, luckily, didn't hurt anybody. Didn't hurt anybody in the process, but holy smokes, man.
All right, story number 2. And I will have to delicately dive into this one.
What's that?
Just to be clear here, I saw this story, but I did not present it. Ben,
he came
in
to the table
work this morning. Goes, did you guys see this story?
No, Ben, I did not hear the story of this. Please tell us and fill us in.
Okay, well, a celebrity basketball tournament that was being held at a public high school in New Jersey next month has been canceled.
So, celebrity tournament.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was some sort of local celebrity politician was setting up the basketball tournament, maybe a fundraiser,
Sure.
Good event at West Side High School in Newark. But the theme of the basketball tournament is what I guess outraged the community, and then once they dropped their teaser video, and they found out that this was going to be happening at a high school, a public high school gym, they decided that this would be inappropriate. It was called the Nuttin' But As Celebrity Baddies Basketball Contest, and the teaser video just had a bunch of girls twerking kind of in very skimpy G-string type thongs, showing off their as.
Give me the name of the attorney again.
It's Nuttin, Nuttin.
Nuttin.
But as AZZ. Celebrity Baddies Basketball Contest.
Next year.
According to Newark Public School spokesperson Nancy Deering, the event, quote, was supposed to be a community basketball event sponsored by a local politician. But once the promo hit social media, everything changed. No school or district official approved the activity depicted in the video.
Try to throw a fast one by him.
Knew that an event at one of our schools would include such activity.
Tom in the chat says, wasn't Ben promoting something like this before? Remember
Yeah,
that
opening
Photoshop?
day. Yeah, it was opening day.
It was like a twerk
It was
like in South Carolina somewhere, maybe?
It was great. It was like a twerk off, but it was the twerk contest.
But I do it at a public school.
No, it was at a gentleman's establishment.
Yes, exactly.
Which is fine. That's where it's supposed to happen.
Yes.
Nothing but as.
Nothing but as
Hey, want to thank everybody for coming out to the 4th annual-ish Ben and Woods Nuttin' But As golf tournament, brought to you by Chrome Soft. Chrome Tour, just the greatest balls of all time. Today, our event is going to be Nuttin' But As out here at the golf course here at Goat Hill. Just amazing. Just an amazing, incredible story.
Not clear yet if the tournament, which charged anywhere from $50 to $500 for admission and promised $10,000 to the winning team, will be scheduled for a different venue. I guess they figured they could charge so much for amateur basketball because of the atmosphere.
Well, the views and whatnot.
Right.
Nuttin' But As. That is.
Incredible.
Celebrities too. Probably, let's be honest. Probably like some Newark radio hosts and if we were in Newark, we might have been invited to Nuttin' But As.
Yeah.
You guys in? Yeah, Paulie loves basketball. I'll get out there and mess around. Ben, maybe you coach.
Ben loves As.
Ben loves As. Get out there. He supports high schools and stuff. All right, yeah, we'll be there. Like, oh, did you guys see the promo? We're dead. Hey, can you guys please back out of that Nuttin' But As? By the way, Adam's out of town for like a week. So speaking of Nuttin' But As, we can do whatever we want. He is out of town. There's nothing he can do to us.
So you said next year's golf tournament will be the Nuttin' But As tournament.
Ben Woods Open.
Presented by
Callaway. They're
our
out.
Callaway guy.
Callaway's out now.
No,
What?
They can't associate with that. Damn it.
Come on.
All right, TaylorMade it is.
Oh, no.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Never.
I'm kidding.
We are out. All right, there it is. Yeah, son of a. All right, well, we'll back to the drawing board
Losing sponsors left and right.
for us and them.
All because Ben.
That may be my favorite Don't Do This story of the year by far. It's not particularly close. Mine was so sad and depressing, and then Ben comes to the table with that. What kind of websites are you looking at? Did you watch the promo?
No, I did not.
Okay,
I was at work. I thought that would probably be bad.
I'm probably right. Let's do a little do this.
DD Mega Doo-Doo.
Man, there's really, honestly, very few people in Major League Baseball that delight me as much as Pete Fairbanks. Blew a save last night, ended up getting a win when the team came back and won, much like Jeremiah Estrada. Same situation last night. Pete Fairbanks was not very happy about it, and they asked him about it after the game. He kills me.
I'll take a win.
Do we get to ask what you destroyed?
Elvis is shaking his head. It's nothing bad, Elvis. Look, let's just say that I owe the Minnesota Twins visiting Cage a new IKEA stool.
A new IKEA stool.
There needs to be a new stool. Not bar stool height, like one of the mini ones that like kids use. Yeah, it's not non-existent anymore. But, sometimes you got to get it all out to go out there and put up another zero.
Okay, but after that, you went back out there, which we don't normally see you do.
Yep.
What was that conversation like, and why did you go back out there, I guess?
Well, I was busy letting every bit of negative emotion out of my body in the cage. And Snide said, hey, you have to throw the next one. And I said, and I quote, so turn your sensors on. I blanked it, so I'll throw it.
Okay.
And that was that.
Oh, I like that.
Then I saw Phil warming up, and I was a little confused because he told me I was still in the game. And I asked Nides, am I still in this game? He said yes. He ran down the hitters, and Jose Siri made an incredible throw. I would say almost a Kevin Kiermaier-esque throw.
There we go. Okay.
If you guys want to pull up a playoff, if you guys want to pull up Game 4 from the 2021 ALDS, eerily similar.
So getting your fresh.
He is a fantastic dude. A fantastic
Dude, I am
dude.
entertained by Pete Fairbanks.
He blew it, walked in, I think he took a bat to the IKEA stool in the cage.
Turned it to kindling.
And he turned it into kindling. This is non-existent, so I do owe them. That is an interesting, you wonder what happens, did last night Yelich go into the Padres visiting clubhouse? What if he went in and went ham in there? Somebody's got to clean up his mess, number one. Does he get a bill?
Well,
these are the things I wonder.
Yes,
he
they
does.
do. They usually do. I mean, the most famous property destroyer of all time, of course, pitched for the San Diego Padres in 1998. Kevin Brown, if anything went poorly, immediately, he absolutely destroyed once the bathroom off Qualcomm Stadium's home dugout once when he had a bad outing, was pulled from the game by Boch and went in and just completely destroyed it. And they did, I believe, charge him whatever, several $1,000s to replace the fixtures and get back in there.
Always feels in the moment like this is a good idea. I'm getting it all out. Never is that when you kind of look back at yourself losing your cool. And it's never a good moment. But Pete Fairbanks, he gets a pass from me. I love that guy. AJ, if you're listening, Pete Fairbanks.
Go get him.
Go get him. Last
Morning, guys.
Hey, good morning.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Well,
Yeah,
so
last night.
got a text from a friend that said, "Hey, do you know it's AJ Preller's birthday today?" And I said, "Well, he never texts me back anyway." And they said, "Drop him a note." And I said, "Okay." So I did. Texted him last night.
What did he say?
I said to him, it was 8:56. So the last text I sent was Saturday, June 8th. I said, "Hey, I hope my pops wasn't wearing you out too much last night."
And he said,
Nothing. Yesterday, 8:56 p.m. Hey, happy birthday, by the way. Nothing until 11:43 p.m. Thanks. Walk-off win is always a good present.
There you go.
There you go.
You know, Mike Shildt mentioned it at the end of his press conference and last night as well. So it's AJ's birthday. I don't know if that's public knowledge, but telling everybody now.
Yeah.
So
happy birthday, bud.
And that's Don't and Do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, when we come back, one night only, it returns. It's a special anniversary edition of Ben Reed's Raps.
Like a real one. We're not going to replay something.
No, 5
We're doing
years
a real
ago,
one.
we had Ice Cube on our program. I read one of Ice Cube's raps back to him.
Lord have mercy.
It was iconic. So in celebration of that magical day, Ben Reed's Raps returns for one day only. Coming up next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Now, I do think it's only fair that if I have to read raps, that I want a little basketball talk as well in exchange. A little quid pro quo. Tit for tat, as it were.
Whoa.
Jesus.
Am I the tat?
No, I don't think so.
I'm the... Okay, I'll be the...
You know what? I know what I think about it. I want to know what you think about J.J. Redick being the next head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers. We'll get to that in just a second. First, this hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe on June 21st for National Smoothie Day. We're treating our Tropic Rewards members to a free smoothie with a bowl or food purchase. Order in the app, online, or pop by the cafe for a little sip and chill. 3 cheers to our Tropic fam. Terms and conditions apply. All right, Ben Reed's Wraps coming up, and a little bit of basketball talk right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Fish Market, serving the freshest catches from waters near, far, and everywhere in between. Guys, just this one problem in National City. Got a crash involving a motorcycle northbound 5 before Civic Center. It's got the fast lane blocked, so do expect a little slow traffic approaching that. Skip the fried food this year and grab some healthy, fresh catch at the Fish Market. So good. The Fish Market off the 5 next to the Del Mar Fairgrounds and downtown on North Harbor Drive. Wish I was there right now. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Basketball Woods.
Literally one of the funniest things we've ever done.
Busted down version.
Butchered Europe's final countdown.
No.
No, it's
Oh,
serious.
no,
Alan
serious.
Parsons.
Oh, that's
Alan
right. Serious.
Parsons. Yeah. What do you want to
Everyone
know?
seems to have a hot take about J.J. Redick, the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, as reported yesterday. 4-year deal. Obviously, they didn't get Dan Hurley, so they go with the...
Who was the other guy they were going to get?
James Borrego was being
Borrego.
interviewed. He would be more the traditional candidate.
Okay. He was an assistant.
Yeah.
At least.
Former head coach and assistant. He would have been your safe choice. Hurley was your dream get. And J.J. Redick's your outside the box, off the board, never coached a day in his life candidate.
It's incredible. He's also LeBron James' podcast partner.
LeBron will insist he had nothing to do with this. He was not involved.
Wasn't me.
Well, I think
People will be
to
suspicious.
fair, it's not even known that LeBron will be on the Lakers next year.
It's not known.
Is it possible that this hire is designed to make sure that he is on the Lakers next year?
You can't bail on your
That's
podcast
context.
partner, right? Look, here's what it boils down to.
If LeBron goes and plays for the Hornets because they draft Bronny, he's going to do that.
Right, that's true.
Over his podcast
Rich Ball
partner.
says that's not a thing. They're not a package deal. But
Okay. Doesn't matter if Redick is good as head coach or not, Ben. If GM Rob Pelinka doesn't upgrade the roster this offseason, all right? Number one. So, I mean, look, there's they got to find another high-level ball handler and shot creator on the trade market. Trae Young is a name that's come up on the trade market. That would be a nice pickup for the Lakers. They need more than just the 2 stars that they have. Redick's got to do his part. He's got to develop players like Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura and Max
What
Christie.
are you reading over there?
Nothing. This is all from the dome. Talent is going to win out in the NBA. The Lakers need more.
He
they
did
want to
call
compete.
me actually yesterday. Woods called me and was telling me all of these thoughts.
You know, Pelinka didn't play it safe on this. You know, it is outside the box. It breaks the mold, in fact. But they need it, actually. It was time for the mold to be broken in L.A. Try something new. And this is definitely something new. You have to be patient with them.
I know this sounds weird.
On the Lakers Reddit, where you at?
No, I'm looking at the chat right now.
The Redick thread.
Redick.
I both think that this is the right choice, and it's probably not going to work.
Correct.
But given the options that were out there, I think you have to take a chance at this point. There have been some interesting outside-the-box head coaching hires in sports recently. Look at Deion Sanders. What he did, I mean, I guess the book is still out a little bit, but
book's still out. Weird stuff continues to come out of there. I'm kind of going back on the other side on Dion again.
there are many reasons why an inexperienced head coach, it could go very wrong for the Lakers.
It's just weird because everybody's got to start somewhere. Yes, everyone has to.
Yeah, but it's usually not the top.
That's what I was
literally
gonna say.
Basically the number one basketball coaching job in the world is coaching the Lakers. Wouldn't you say? I mean,
yes.
There's an argument to be made, at least, of all
Correct.
the basketball coaching jobs in the world, that if you put them all on a mountain, the one that's at the very top,
you would think
is head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, you would think. I mean, you think about some of the teams in other sports that have done this recently, like when the Yankees hired Aaron Boone. It was like, really? He's not going to go to Kansas City and figure it out for a couple of years?
The minors?
Right, the minors, anything.
College?
Anything.
I think what we're learning is that it's more important to be, intelligent, good thinker, maybe a little outside the box, have a good relationship with players, than it is to have a mastery of coaching now, to be a good coach.
Yeah.
You can hire assistants around you to do some of the X's and O's and the procedure, like how do I set up a practice? I've never done a practice before. How do I do that? Guys, you've worked a lot of practices before. Set up my practice for me. That's obviously not why J.J. Redick's here. He's not building a JV team from the ground up to try to teach guys to play basketball. He'll be establishing a culture. He will be trying to work well with players and get them to come together well. And we'll see if it works or not. As I said, it probably won't.
I'm trying to think of another comparable
But most
example.
coaching hires don't. Remember that.
Jace Tingler?
Yeah. In basketball. Eric Spoelstra did not play the game.
Yeah.
He was like a video,
He was a film guy.
Yeah, he was the video guy.
Yeah.
And he's like the longest tenured coach in the NBA,
So
multiple
good,
world
man.
champion.
Very outside the box.
So is this more or less outside of the box? Because at least Redick was a damn good player.
He was a good player. He's
Good
really
analyst.
sharp. I mean, look, I don't really like the NBA, but when I see a JJ Redick, when he gets into it with somebody, I always leave there going, oh yeah, God knows what he's talking about. You always feel like
that accounts for something.
100%. And I think those guys will know he absolutely knows the game, and he played, and it's going to give him a little cachet. But yeah, man, I mean, again, it's like anything. You got to have the ponies to win the race.
If you watch the finals, there is some X's and O's going on. Both the Celtics and the Mavericks, I mean, they were running some advanced level stuff in terms offensively, and the Lakers
Mavericks
will
have
have to
another.
keep
Jason Kidd did not coach.
keep
before.
pace. Yeah. I mean, obviously he had a couple of NBA stops before the Mavericks, but he went right from playing basically to being a head coach. Just the way things are done. That kind of works like in radio sometimes, where people just all of a sudden are big-time radio hosts and had not done it before at all.
Hi. Nice to meet you. Pleasure.
What happened to paying your dues and answering phones for Hacksaw and working your way up? Doesn't happen anymore.
No, does not.
Pilates.
Well done.
All right, so we played it yesterday on Throwback Thursday, but today is the 5-year anniversary of one of the most iconic editions of Ben Reed Raps ever, when Ice Cube was actually on the phone, and you had me read one of his classics.
Called up the homies, and I'm asking y'all, which park are y'all playing basketball? Get me on the court, and I'm trouble. Last week, it's around and got a triple-double. Freaking every way like MJ.
Ice Cube is on the phone.
Ice Cube on the phone listening.
Day.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
That's great rhyming structure. It really is good stuff. But
Cube, all right, just Ben, quiet for a second. I want to get the honest feedback from the author of that song, Ice Cube.
Lord have mercy. I've never had my lyrics butchered. For the Method Man, now we got Mayonnaise Man.
Just a legendary Mayonnaise Man. All right, you still have the music, Paulie? Oh yes, it's been so long. I'd like to bring it back every now and then. And a shout out to Ice Cube today.
I haven't heard this in a while.
On the anniversary.
It's been a few months. At
It has
least,
been a long
if not
time.
years. We ready?
Yeah, be careful.
Oh, we're ready.
Be very
This is the first time I've looked at this. This is the first page? Okay. Tick, tick, boom. Hear me banging down these back streets. Bumping Black Street, treated like an athlete. Life ain't a track meet, it's a marathon. At the cemetery that an end get buried on, we be clubbing till the day we die. And ask the bartender if you think we lie, but if you think we high end, think again. Because when it's sink or swim, you got to think to win. And if I drink this here, everybody will know because I ain't going for it. So pray to the Lord that I don't pull out, cuss out, and bust out. Go to unraveling, make the clip traveling, huh? You can try to smoke an ounce to this while I pronounce this. Baby, bounce them T's. Mama, move them hips. Baby, shake them cheeks. I got D for days. You got S for weeks. Yeah. I can do it. Put your ass into it. I can do it. Put your ass into it. Put your ass into it.
What are you doing?
I'm putting my ass
He's
into it.
working.
I do hardcore rhyming, hard time grinding. With Will, I pimp hoes while other ends wine and dine them. Gotta love this pup S, passing the mud S. Pockets on flood S, OG lyrical blood S. I don't rent, I buy S, ends jealous of my S. There's a lot of S's in this song. You unaware of this young N getting all the fly S while you rooting and recruiting N 6 to 8 whooping. 6'8" whooping? I was in the hood shooting because I had the wife whooping. I come from Padres gold in oversized jars.
So excited.
I pass up strife and got star awards. No time for play-a-hating. Mac paper chasing. Came out the substation to the hip-hop nation. The mo hits, the mo bigger. With a legal weight figure. Done developing the status of a platinum plus. I think you can imagine what that rhymes with.
Got that one, yeah.
But the first, to show I can hit it, I keep pushing. Don't quit it. Don't stop till I get it.
God, he's good at that, man. He is really, really good at that.
It's been a while.
It gets me every time. Every time. So well done. Wow. Did not disappoint.
There's a lot of traps there. I don't think I've ever had to skip over a T word before. I had a lot of F words and S words and N words. Yes. But that's the first time I had to dodge the T word.
Tyler says in the chat, Shildt just texted, I think I'm going to pass today.
Hey, my phone's dead. Sorry. Can't make it.
Oh, Shildt reads raps would be amazing.
Spring training next year.
You just made my heart stop. It literally just stopped when you said that. My heart leapt. It leapt.
I mean, if he's Country Ben, don't we have to make that happen at some point?
I can't.
Yeah, of course.
I can't do it, man.
What's up, my dudes? How you doing?
Good. Would you like to read this rap back to the hotel from M2 Deep?
It might be more of an off-season
that.
thing than an in-season opportunity.
Jeter said he's not playing with y'all like that. There's no way.
Not a chance.
You crushed that.
Thanks.
You look good.
Cuz ain't playing.
No, cuz
I wasn't ready for the dancing.
I wasn't either. Like,
gotta get
So,
your
You
ass
can
into
do it. Put your
There was one line in there that I need. I think you.
The Padre
No, I don't
Gold.
want that one.
It's a baseball song.
Love that.
man.
I had no idea that
Yeah.
Ice Cube had a baseball song.
I believe he's a Dodgers fan, but that's all right. It's all right. We had to
Nobody's
do it.
perfect.
God, that was great.
All right, that is halfway home on a Friday.
You literally just stole my line for the next segment.
Halfway home on a Friday?
Yes.
Sorry. Would you like to say it as well?
Not yet. I was going to wait till 8 when I always say it.
Well, usually we reset at 8, but on Fridays we've got Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue joining us to talk some baseball when we come back with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We're halfway home on a Friday.
I already said that.
Again. Good morning, everybody. Ben Woods, 97.3 The Fan, about to be joined by our pal Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue, presented by Grand Ole Barbecue. That is a trip.
Doing a lot of hat changes today.
A lot of hat changes. Yeah, I will be making that trip soon out to Flint Springs to the Grand Ole. I love that spot, man. It is a cool, fun place. I think the kids will love it. I mean, a little bit of a hike from where we live, but worth every single minute of the drive. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. The executive producer, Ben Higgins, is your friendly neighborhood sports anchor and rapper extraordinaire, certainly.
Once again, joining us from far-flung locales, he looks like he's in a roadside parking lot somewhere, is Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue, a.k.a. Carmen Slam Diego.
Love it.
Jake, good morning to you. Where are you right now?
I give myself a 10 out of 10 for the nickname. I am in a parking lot of a paintball facility somewhere outside of Portage, Indiana. But I'm here to talk ball, boys.
You've had a busy week. So you went to Omaha to the College World Series, and now you're getting ready for the MLB Draft Combine.
Already went.
Done. Okay.
I went Omaha to the MLB Draft Combine to this very specific paintball facility.
Okay. Well, what did you glean from your travels this week?
Oh boy, I need a nap. Let's start in Omaha. It's the best, dude. The Men's College World Series is like my favorite baseball, one of my favorite baseball watching environments. It's not as good as the Dominican Winter League, but it is better than anything MLB has to offer beyond the playoffs.
I went like 16 years ago. I think it's the most underrated, one of the most underrated events in sports.
Yeah, it's amazing. And the first weekend is particularly sensational because it's all 8 fan bases. So for people who don't know about the Men's College World Series, it's 8 schools playing 2 double elimination tournaments. The winners meet in the final, and that's where we're at right now. Finals this weekend, Tennessee against Texas A&M. But that first weekend, when you have 8 fan bases there all at the same place under an 100-degree Nebraska sun, getting pretty sloshed out in public, it's a very unique, singular atmosphere to watch a baseball game in.
Yeah, it sounds that way. Now, again, the combine is a little bit different. And, you know, the thing is, the NFL combine is such a huge deal because, well, these guys are going to be playing and starting and contributing the very next season, more than likely. Jake, baseball combine's a little bit different. What were your impressions of that?
Yeah, it's
asked and answered.
It's the opposite of the Men's College World Series from an energy perspective. And it's what makes that so interesting is there were dudes who got eliminated in Omaha who flew straight to the combine, like Harrison Didowick of the University of Virginia, who's going to be like probably a 3rd or 4th round pick. Like, I just saw him at the combine. I was like, dude, you were playing with all your best friends in the most emotional game of your life 2 days ago. It's quite a vibe switch. Now, the thing about the MLB combine, right? It's never going to be what the NFL combine is, in part because MLB is not what the NFL is, right? That's just a reality of the sport, and that's not the problem. The thing about the MLB combine that's kind of tough is that a lot of the best players don't go, and all of the best players don't do activities, right? I think we saw this year with like Caleb Williams, who was the first pick in the draft, who didn't throw at the combine. Now, that's in his best interest, and the same thing is true with a guy like, you know, Travis Bazzana, who's in the mix for the top pick this year. He didn't even go to the combine. A guy like J.J. Weatherholt, second baseman from West Virginia, also in the mix for one. He went and just did interviews with teams and didn't do any activities. I'm not sure there was a guy who's going to be a first round pick who did any on-field stuff. And so for that reason, it's a tough event to get fans to care about. That being said, it is important for the teams, right? The teams love it because they all have a suite in the stadium, and the kids basically like have a schedule and just meet with the teams one-on-one over the course of the day.
Jake Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue is with us. Speaking of MLB events, they put one on last night. I don't know if you got to catch much of it during your travels, but your thoughts on the Rickwood Field game in Alabama and the show that MLB put on?
I thought it was great, man. I think what is cool is the wrong word. What is notable about this event is that the unfortunate, horrifying history of racism in the South is like inextricable from putting a game there. So like when you put a Negro League game in Birmingham, it comes with a level of commemoration and education that's built in. Whereas the Field of Dreams game in Iowa is just like a schlocky nostalgia bomb, right? There's no heft to that. It's literally based on something that isn't real.
Yes.
Like the Field of Dreams is fiction. Okay. This is the opposite. This is living history. And to see a baseball game there, I'm sure was undeniably emotional for many, many people, especially in the context of Willie Mays' passing this week. And I think the most pertinent moment, the one that'll really stick with me, was Reggie Jackson on the broadcast.
Unreal.
Being very upfront and blunt about his experience playing in Birmingham as a minor leaguer. And again, as a white dude, this is not an opportunity for celebration, right? It's not, it is that, and it is also not that. I need to go back and watch the broadcast in full because I was on a plane during it. But everything I saw from it, it seems like they struck that balance very well.
It was really, really well done last night. And it was cool for me. I have a 6-year-old who is just on fire for baseball. And he asked me the significance of the game. What is this? Where are they? Why is it so small? Right. And I got to fill him in on the great Willie Mays. And he did watch the catch, Jake. And he said, and he's 6, he goes, quote, "Oh, that's easy." And I said, all right, well,
get out of here,
well, I mean, he's got, you want that confidence. You coach little leaguers. You want them to have that confidence, but you also want to say, why don't you catch one right to you in the infield first, and then you can worry about a dead sprint World Series over the shoulder, 40-mile-an-hour catch.
Bingo.
The no-look.
You raised a really interesting point. Like, I think the Negro Leagues is a fascinating combination of myth and reality, right? Where because it wasn't documented at the time to the same extent as, MLB, American League, National League, because of the inequities based into the reporting process, right? There's a myth making that is more associated with the Negro Leagues. And Bob Kendrick, the director of the Negro Leagues Museum, does a really good job at keeping the stories alive. But what's good about this game and really good about Negro League players being in like MLB The Show is that a younger generation of fans, it feels real to them. It feels tangible. It exists. It is not just some far-flung story about Satchel Paige telling all of his fielders to get off the diamond, which is also cool, right? And also awesome. But I think that having the balance between those two things is really crucial in keeping the true essence of the Negro Leagues alive for decades and decades.
And there has been, I would say, and it's wild. I don't want to give it all to MLB The Show and things like that, but there is a renewed interest, and I'm around a lot of little leaguers, around the young game. They are way more into it than I think the last generation of young kids are, and I do give MLB The Show a lot of credit. I was talking to one of the dads. He goes, I always swore I'd never get my kid an Xbox. He goes, I got him one so he could play the show and learn about all of this stuff and like pitch sequencing. We talked to big leaguers. Jeremiah Estrada last week said, no, I look at hot and cold zones on MLB The Show. It's crazy. Yeah. There's a renewed interest in the history, and I think we had lost that for just a minute, and it's back now, and it feels great.
Look, kids are going to play video games. You might as well learn something along the way. I think the renewed interest in the Negro Leagues, you just got to give a hat tip to people like Bob Kendrick.
Yes.
Who have kept that flame alive for years while people weren't giving a crap as much as they are now. And I think that those are the people who last night, I'm sure, was incredibly emotional for them. And I just want to make sure those folks get their flowers.
All right, so I noticed something interesting in the baseball standings this morning. Every division leader has at least a 6 to 9 game lead over the second place team in that division, except for the one race in the AL East. The Yankees and the Orioles just had a big series.
That was a banger.
Last couple of days. Orioles taking 2 or 3 from the Yankees, including a 19 hits win in the series
17
finale.
runs or something.
Obviously, Jake, I mean, that looks like a really fun summer between those two teams. The second place team will probably just end up getting the first wild card. I don't know if that takes a little bit away from it, but give me your thoughts on what's going on right now at the top of the AL East.
Oh, it's so compelling. And this series was really opened a can of hatred.
Yeah, it did.
And disdain between these two fan bases. Baltimore opening up a can of Old Bay and just dumping it full spice all over the Yankees in the finale. Tension is good. It raises the stakes. You guys have seen this when you play the Dodgers recently. Like, it's a good thing. It makes it a more compelling product. And that is my main takeaway from these two teams facing off. They're in very interesting spots. They're both very good and very flawed, and a great reminder that nobody is good this year. It feels like every Major League Baseball team is
maybe the Phillies.
Phillies are pretty
maybe the
stacked,
Phillies,
yeah.
maybe the Phillies, yeah. But like, the Yankees and the Orioles are easily the two best teams of this division. I actually think it's a little unfortunate with the balanced schedule that they're going to play less frequently than they would have like 3 years ago. They've already played twice. They're only going to play 2 more times. I just want them to play all the time.
Every day.
Like, I don't need to see I don't want to watch the Yankees play the A's. Like, just give me O's Yanks all the time. Garrett Cole being back for the Yankees is a really interesting dynamic because he's not throwing that many pitches, but also he's vital to their success moving forward. How they kind of reintegrate him into the rotation will be really interesting to watch.
And the Orioles, the young guns, man, they stay doing the right thing. I thought Gunnar Henderson wearing that in the back the other night, swiping second base, ended up scoring the go-ahead run. We are a fan base, Jake, that our superstars get dotted a lot and at least brush back. There's not a lot of retaliation going on, at least under the current regime or really any of the last few regimes here. I know I've craved it a little bit just to let guys know we got your back. But that's when it can go wrong. The Yankees did it the next night after Judge got hit, and they ended up losing that game, and they ended up losing the next one. And it can bite you in the ass. It can also galvanize you, but losing 2 or 3 to a division rival sucks no matter how you do it.
But it was a great example of like the reality of why this is a bad idea.
Yeah.
The Orioles end up winning this game by 1 run.
Right.
The Yankees probably plunk Henderson in the back. He gets to first base and scores on a double.
Yep.
And the O's win by what?
Yep.
Like if they hadn't plugged that guy, they might win the baseball.
They might win the baseball
right?
game.
And
yeah.
So don't give people free bases.
It's be
That's
careful
the whole
what you
point
wish for.
of the sport.
That's right. That's right.
Your thoughts, Carmen Slam Diego, on the Padres pulling off a little history. So that was their 3rd consecutive walk-off home run at home last night. Now split by a road trip, but quite history-making. And what Jackson Merrill's been doing lately is stunning all of us. We were told not to expect any power for at least 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, it'll come.
And now all of a sudden, 6 home runs in the last 8 days, and they're making no one's done this other than Willie Mays.
It's crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
It's amazing, right? It is kind of the best case scenario, and it's why it was important to be patient for the first 2 months of the season, right? He's like,
but he was good the first 2 months of the season. He was good.
Yeah, he was good.
He was good. But he wasn't like sensational,
right?
Like he was solid. He was excellent for given the context. But this is why they were comfortable promoting him, right? So fast and comfortable putting him on the big league roster. Like he's showing that. And what a piece. Again, Preller usually doesn't trade the guys that he thinks are really good. He has been burned relatively few times, which is unbelievable considering how many human beings he has traded away over the last handful of years. And Merrill, whose name was brought up in trades all the time, that's the guy Preller hung on to, and that is paying big dividends right now.
Well, Jake, I really appreciate it. Now, are you going into the paintball facility? What's happening here?
No, I'm just loitering. No, I'm going in there.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I got a bachelor party this weekend. All my boys are in there, firing up paintballs. I haven't done paintball in years. I'm expecting to get worked over. I'm really tired. I think I'm just going to take a nap in the bushes.
Do that. They won't miss you. It's a bachelor party. Like Jake wandered off. It's fine, man. Get some rest.
Man?
We'll talk to you very soon. Appreciate all your hard work, man.
There he goes.
Love you guys.
Jake
Love you, buddy.
Mintz from Cespedes Family Barbecue, our weekly conversations brought to you by Grand Ole Barbecue, which is actual barbecue, Flint Springs, North Park, and at the ballpark during the homestand. Check them out. I could definitely go for some brisket.
I hope those guys are working on their own barbecue. If you're going to call your brand Cespedes Family
some
Barbecue,
rubs.
some rubs, some sauces, yeah, to rub your meat with. They can. I mean, you got to do it. You have to. You got to work your brand. You never know what's going to end. You never know when the gravy train's going to end. So you got to keep it going. Good dudes.
Yeah,
man.
I mean, you're always looking to market and monetize.
That's right.
Is really the key. I mean, you can get your brand out there, but if you're not monetizing with goods and services, what are we doing here?
Yeah, those guys are. And I always, when I talk to both of them, again, I always leave feeling that I don't know anything. They know so much about every facet of baseball that it's like you're an amateur. These guys are pros. They're so into it.
Yeah, imagine just doing random radio hits to stations across the country and talking about the MLB Combine.
The Combine, yeah, that you were there, that you were at, and then, from Omaha, knowing the actual players' names, like with no rooting interest, right? Like if I went to A&M, I'd know who was playing there, but holy cow, I couldn't name one guy.
Can we get a little deeper into the Padres bullpen? Woes is a strong word, but frustrations, maybe inconsistencies.
Yeah, yes.
And what they could possibly do about it here. We'll do that. Mike Shildt coming up at 9 o'clock.
I want to ask him that question, too, about what can you do at this point?
And, by the way, Jake mentioned the Reggie Jackson audio. We will have that for you in the Reindl Report coming up at the bottom of the hour as well. So stay tuned for all of it coming up. It's more Ben and Woods. Stick around after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Help is on the way, Benjamin. Help is on the way.
Hopefully it's help.
A warm
That's
body.
the idea that it is help. But, Kevin Acee wrote in this morning's UT newsletter that Tom Cosgrove is expected to be activated from AAA and rejoin the Padres. Obviously, Cosgrove was expected to be one of the guys they were counting on.
100%.
7th, 8th inning.
Yes.
Left-hander, going to get a ton of lefties out, and he struggled so badly early in the season.
Mightily.
That they had to send him down. And
been there a while.
And then he struggled in AAA for a while, but he has actually been pitching quite a bit better lately. Tom Cosgrove has allowed just one hit over 9 scoreless innings his past 9 outings in AAA. So hopefully he has found whatever was missing and will be activated today. They have not announced the move yet, so I'm assuming the corresponding move will be Adam Mazur sent down to AAA.
Yeah.
Since they don't likely need him to start another game. That's just kind of an extra roster spot you've got until you need to activate Yu Darvish from the injured list, probably like next Tuesday, because you said he's healthy. His next start will come in the big leagues. Whether it's Tuesday or not, they haven't announced, but that should give the Padres at least a fresher, extra arm for a bullpen that has been taxed, not just because they haven't been getting great starting pitching, which has been part of it.
Which they haven't.
I think, what is it now? 4 or 5 of the last 6 or 7 games, you got starters that have not even gone 5 innings. And it happened again last night. Now, Mazur went 4 2/3, but Dylan Cease has had a short outing. Randy Vasquez has had a short outing. Mazur had a short outing the last time. That's part of it. The other part of it is the Padres have simply played so many games. They're in another long stretch here. There is no off day again until next Thursday.
Whew.
And
Man.
they've played more games, we've said it, than any other team in baseball. Not just the 2 in Korea that started them out, but they've had less off days. They've had more games than any other team in baseball. And while that will be made up at some point, they will all get to 162 eventually. This is the time where you're going to be weary. Your bullpen is going to be overused for multiple reasons at the moment.
Well, and it speaks to the fact that we absolutely 100% have to have a great outing from Dylan Cease tonight. It has to happen. I mean, to reset the bullpen, who is massively taxed right now. I've got that spreadsheet that somebody made. It's awesome. Padres bullpen usage. I mean, the whole thing, Benny, it's all red for the most part. I mean, basically right now you have Johnny Brito, who's, kind of they pitch him in weird spots. He's kind of a long man, I guess, but I mean, look at this. 58 pitches for Estrada the last couple days. Wandy at 47. Yuki at 38. Morejon at 26. Suarez at 22. Enyel only threw 3 last night. So you got fresh as a daisy. You got Johnny Brito, Steven Kolek, and Enyel De Los Santos, essentially. And now you add Tom Cosgrove to the mix. It's not a good recipe for
maybe
another
Suarez
short...
can come back, I would say for 1 inning. Don't ask him for a 4-out save or something.
Exactly.
But he wanted the day off yesterday. They gave it to him. Hopefully,
we got the win.
He'll be ready to come back if they've got a lead. And Dylan Cease, you're right. He struggled. Craig, I think, brought up in the roundtable yesterday over his last 7 starts or so. He's got like 6+ ERA. That's not the Dylan Cease that we saw early in the season.
No.
Something's off. And, I trust Ruben Niebla to figure it out. We know there's a good pitcher, a great pitcher in there.
The velo's
but it hasn't
there.
Come out lately.
The velo's not down a ton from what I've seen. I mean, I think like it is for all these guys, it always falls on command.
Say that stat again about that Craig mentioned. His last how many starts?
7 starts or something. His ERA is over 6.
Wow, because he still has a sub-4 ERA.
Yeah,
I don't even
that's how good
he was really good
I don't
early in
remember
the
him
season.
that dominant to start the year.
That's how good
he's
he
been
was,
struggling.
man.
But I thought it was interesting what Acee wrote in the newsletter, specifically about Yuki Matsui, who he's got a 4 ERA. That's not.
It's not.
It's not the worst,
no,
but it's not
it's
good.
Bad.
I mean, it's not.
Don't alibi it.
Well, he's not. He certainly isn't. And he writes very specifically.
Who doesn't? Acee?
Acee. He says Matsui is becoming an albatross around Mike Shilt's neck, even though the manager won't acknowledge it. The left-hander has had some nice outings this season. Thanks to Peralta's work last night, Matsui hasn't allowed a run in his past 7 appearances. That's shocking.
That's shocking.
But he is a game
the eye
of...
test tells me every time he takes the mound, I'm nervous as hell.
Well, and he says, but he is a game of Russian roulette every time out. His 20.5% walk rate in his past 20 games is his highest in the majors among pitchers who have thrown more than 10 innings since May 1st. The walks drive Mike Shildt crazy.
Every
it's the one thing
manager
that
at
you
any
know.
level. At any level.
It tests his positivity and patience when his pitchers walk guys. I think he'd rather lose a game and not walk anybody than win it with like 7 or 8 walks.
Benny, I think you ask any pitcher, and I think you ask any manager at any level, if some team beats you and they string together like Suarez got beat the other day. That's going to happen.
But it's 4 straight hits.
Couple guys got there, 4 straight hits, but you get knocks on, guy gets a knock, it's over. Fine, man. I have no problem with that. It's going to happen in this dumb game that we love. But giving guys free bags is it's excruciating. And again, Wandy Peralta, he owes Wandy a steak dinner last night because that could have gotten, really, really squirrely for him. Those inherited runners that Wandy took over. But, yeah, man.
But Wandy has some of the same tendencies as Yuki.
He does.
As does Enyel. Enyel's, walks aren't the problem. Home runs are the problem with Enyel de los Santos. It just feels like, and now Estrada is, ever since he got sick, I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but he's not the same pitcher that he was a few weeks ago.
The most interesting case for me is Adrian Morejon. So he's 1-1, 240 is his ERA. 22 appearances that have totaled 30 innings. He struck out 33 and walked 8. So, Benny, his ERA in the 7th is 1.04. His ERA is 1.50 in 6 innings thrown in the 8th, and he's yet to allow a run in 2 1/3 innings in the 9th. His ERA in innings 7 through 9 is 1.06, and in innings 4 through 6 is almost 4, 3.77. So that's the thing has he pitched himself into a setup role? Because that's really the piece that we're missing. And I don't want to say missing because Estrada has been very, very good. He struggled as of late. He was ill. He is getting over the flu, which, can't be great. Gritted it out last night, didn't surrender the lead. But didn't blow the game. He blew the save, but he didn't blow the game. Kept us there at 6-6. We ended up hitting the walk-off. But you do wonder, is Morejon just kind of the guy they're like, when do we do it? When do we pull the trigger and just slide him, instead of using him in the 5th and the 6th, whereas ERA is actually worse, high leverage for Adrian Morejon. I'm still nervous about it. We've all watched.
I'm pretty confident in Adrian Morejon now. He was pretty nasty last night.
He's been pretty nasty in most of his outings. So I wonder if the time is now and what that could do to reset this bullpen.
Just make Adrian Morejon your setup
guy.
To Robert Suarez.
I mean, it doesn't. You don't play the game on paper, as you know, but imagine Estrada 7th, Morejon 8th. Morejon 8th and Suarez in the 9th. That's a 6-inning baseball game. But you can't do it every
then it goes
night.
righty, lefty, righty.
Righty,
now,
lefty, righty. Yep.
Mike Shilt's big on, what was he called? Your lanes.
Yeah, your lane. What's a good lane for him?
He'll look at the opposing lineup, and that will dictate the usage.
Yeah.
Like, he'll see a reliever. Okay, this reliever should be effective against their 5, 6, 7. So if they're going to come up in the 6th, you may use them there instead of using them in the 7th or the 8th. So he's big on, finding the lanes of the opposing team and then matching them up with the reliever that makes the most sense to use in those certain circumstances.
Yeah, 100%, man. He is Morejon has been really, really good pitching in those innings and again, kind of earning his stripes for more high leverage. And, that could certainly help. Don't know where Cosgrove, if that is, in fact, the corresponding move, if it's Major going down and Cosgrove coming up as the UT has reported. Don't know where he fits in. I will promise you'll see him tonight.
More than likely,
unless Dylan Cease goes out and throws 8 scoreless and you throw Bob Suarez for that. Other than that, you're probably going to see the freshest arm you've got at the big league level.
Yeah, no, I mean, ideally, Cease goes 8, you're up 7-1, and
right.
Stephen Kolek can pitch the 9th.
100%.
And everyone gets a nice little breather, but let's be honest, this is the San Diego Padres. That's not how it goes.
And we're going against an old friend of ours in Colin
who's been
Ray.
pretty good this year.
Pretty good.
Pretty good this year. All right, we're going to take a timeout. When we come back, Paulie's got the Reindl Report. We're going to play the powerful audio from Reggie Jackson last night at the Rick Field, the Rick.
You got it.
Rickwood Field, right?
Rick-rolled field.
Rick-rolled.
Yeah, the Rick-rolled field. He's out of gas. It's 8:30.
We're getting to the
this is it.
later stages of
they know what it is.
Of Sunday here.
It's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Brain is starting to melt at this point. It's been a long week. You have to admit. With the golf tournament, it's been a long week. More Ben and Woods next on 97.3 The Fan.
Don't alibi.
Got our manager's report coming up at 9 o'clock. Always look forward to our conversations with the skipper, Mike Shildt.
Country bad.
Never know what you're going to get.
Know.
It was a bit of a
relief. You can say it.
It was a bit of an up and down week, kind of like a certain amusement park ride.
Right.
That
goes up.
That goes up,
Yeah,
and then it goes down, and then
it goes up. It was but this one had a really long drop.
Yeah.
And
now
then
it's kind of back going up again.
Yeah.
But we don't like to call it that in front of the skipper. Doesn't necessarily take kindly to that characterization, but kind of that sort of week for the team.
Maybe he's more of a carousel guy. Like
Could
those
be.
go up and
They
down,
do.
but it's a little bit more calm.
Gently.
And
You sit on the thing.
it's not as extreme highs and lows.
You don't have to be a certain height to ride this ride. You can be any height and enjoy the Padres season.
Bro, even my
and
kids,
it's ups and downs.
Even my kids hate the carousel. They hate the carousel. They like the roller coaster. I mean, it is what it is.
Never liked a carousel.
I never
We're
liked
like,
the
what am I-
carousel.
why are we on
It's
here?
worthless.
This is stupid.
It's more like the swings.
Have
We're
you
on
ever-
the swings, like the high swings that whip you around.
Have you ever been on one of those old-fashioned carousels where there's the brass ring and you try to
No.
grab it as you're going by?
I thought that
and,
was
like,
a
you
fake
win a
bit.
free ride. No, there's like
what?
Yeah, there was like brass ring, like a dispenser, and you go around and you try to like reach up off your horse, and if you grabbed it, you
That's
like, win
where
a prize, or you
that's
win
where
a free ride.
the
or
brass
something.
ring comes from.
Yeah, grab the brass
grab
ring.
The brass ring. I grabbed the as ring. Okay.
This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. They really want you to go here on National Smoothie Day. Join the free smoothie party at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Today is National Smoothie Day, and they're treating Tropic Rewards members to a free smoothie with bowl or food purchase. Order an app online or pop by the cafe for a little sip and chill. 3 cheers to our Tropic fam. Terms and conditions apply. Paulie's got our Reindl Report headlines right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the Fish Market, serving the freshest catches from waters near, far, and everywhere in between. What's going on, guys? We were doing pretty good, but now several accidents. Vehicle facing the wrong way in the slow lane, North 5 coastline, just before Tamarack. Also traveling on southbound 15 before Mira Mesa Boulevard. There is a collision blocking the fast lane. Got this accident on southbound 163 past Genesee. Everything in the center divide. South on the 805. An accident before Home Avenue. That's over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on westbound King Freeway, 30th Street off-ramp. Crash involving a couple vehicles there over to the right shoulder. Skip the fried food this year and grab some healthy, fresh catch at the Fish Market. So good. The Fish Market off the 5 next to the Del Mar Fairgrounds. Downtown on North Harbor Drive. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right. All right. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Happy Friday to everybody listening in. Want to get right into this audio. Really, really powerful stuff. Yesterday this was the pregame show, I believe, Fox Sports pregame show with David Ortiz, A-Rod, and all the guys that they had out there at the
Rickwood Field game,
Rickwood Field game. And Reggie Jackson stopped by, and I think the clip that Ben sent over specifically just said it well. Just take 2 minutes out of your day and listen to this man speak.
Amazing.
How emotional is it for you to come back to a play that you played with one of the greatest teams around?
Alex, when people ask me a question like that, it's like coming back here is not easy. The racism that I played here, when I played here, the difficulty of going through different places where we traveled. Fortunately, I had a manager and I had players on the team that helped me get through it. But I wouldn't wish it on anybody. People said to me today, I spoke, and they said, you think you're a better person, you think you won when you played here in Concord. I said, I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, can't eat here. I would go to a hotel and they say the can't stay here. We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner, and they pointed me out with the N-word. He can't come in here. Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, we're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted. Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone.
It's incredible, man. I was watching it live when it happened and taken aback to hear those stories and just an incredible event that they put on. But again, and it's like Jake made the point earlier. Yeah, the Field of Dreams games, oh, this is cool, kind of kitschy and shticky. This is a reminder of what it was.
For him to go back to that field.
It's a reminder of what it was, but what it still is for a lot of people out there. And it was really moving. You can hear his voice crack a couple times. I give a lot of credit to Reggie Jackson, not only for the career that he had, but for the man that he is. And just thinking about that, having to crash on your buddy's couch and them saying, you guys got to get out of here, we're going to burn this thing down. That wasn't that long ago.
I think what really struck me is that you want to say, just ignore the ignorant people.
Right.
You're better than them. And he had a lot of support, obviously. But imagine now, when you hear that story from Reggie Jackson's perspective, obviously he did nothing wrong. But because of, not him, but the people's attitude toward him, everything was more difficult for his entire team.
No doubt.
Okay, we get to the hotel. You can't stay here. So they all had to go on the bus and maybe go a town over to try to find somewhere. And imagine how that felt for Reggie. Obviously it's not his fault.
Terrible.
But that had to be like the worst feeling every single day to have to go through that.
And again, man, think about somewhere that you've experienced trauma in your life. And they're like, hey, come on back. Would you like to do a public speaking engagement?
Celebrate's not the right word, but hey, we want to
honor and recognize and yeah,
all
man.
of that stuff that you had to go through back in the same location. Come on back.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just crazy in a real testament.
And unfortunately, while things are somewhat better, they're still not perfect.
No, and not even close.
All right, got one more story. Derek Jeter, I think he was out there as well yesterday. So he did a podcast appearance with Jimmy Traina. He does the Sports Illustrated Media podcast. And Jeter was on the latest episode. And he was talking about the Hall of Fame vote and how he was one vote away from being a unanimous Hall of Famer. And there's been plenty of guys that should have been unanimous Hall of Famers. He's definitely one of them. He was one vote away, and that is still bothering him. And he wants... Now, that person that did not vote for him is unknown.
Anonymous.
We do not know their identity.
Ballot.
They didn't make their ballot public. And Jeter's kind of still salty about it. It's been years now. And he wants that person to be held accountable. His quote was, members of the media always want us to be accountable as players.
That's true.
Good game,
except for us.
Bad game.
We don't care.
You have to stand in front of your locker and you have to address the media. I did it every single day. You may not have liked what I said, but I was accountable and I was there. And I think you should expect the same from members of the media. Ooh. I don't care that someone didn't vote for me. I really don't, Jeter insisted. But I do think what becomes annoying is I have to constantly answer this question. And I don't think I should be the one answering the question. Whoever it is should answer the question. I don't have a problem with it, but I get tired of being asked.
Is the counter argument, if you want baseball writers to give their truly honest opinion, can they do that if they know if people disagree with their ballot, they're going to wear it forever? Like, it has to be anonymous, if they want to truly feel like they can, without bias at all, give their thoughts on who's a Hall of Famer. They have to know that they're not going to see it. Just like our elections, you go in, you You don't have to tell anyone who you voted for.
True.
That's an important part of the process. Is that an important part of this process or not?
I don't know. What he was saying just made a lot of sense to me when he said it that way. I'm like, oh, you guys demand this of us.
Yeah, it does.
And we don't get to demand the same
It's
of
funny
you.
how many issues are actually complicated and not simply black and
Black
white.
and white,
that
yeah.
there are arguments on both sides of things
Yeah.
that make sense, and then you got to kind of balance it out, because I absolutely see Derek Jeter's point, but I also see the argument in favor of keeping the vote, if they want to, anonymous, so
Yeah.
they feel like they can truly... Because if you know that you're just going to... You really, truly think that Derek Jeter wasn't a Hall of Famer, but you know if you don't vote for him, you're never going to hear the end of it. You probably just, check Derek Jeter. I don't
Right.
want to hear it. So that's not an honest vote
That's
anymore.
not an honest vote either. But if you're going to say that there aren't biases in Hall of Fame voting, that's pretty naive
That's
as well.
obviously there are.
That's why I will never have a Hall of Fame vote. I couldn't help but be biased. You would take yours very seriously.
You would too.
I would too. But I would also be very biased.
You'd wish there were more than 10.
Yeah. I'm kind of free with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, gentlemen, we have a little bit of a shout out to his family to get
big
to.
one, actually.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
Yeah, Hollywood legend Donald Sutherland passed away yesterday at the age of 88. MASH, Animal House. Guess he was in the Hunger Games. I didn't see those.
You did not.
I assumed you did.
I saw one.
He
of
was
them.
the best of
was
those
great.
movies. He was the evil President Snow.
Yeah.
And stole every scene. He was fantastic.
He got there was a tweet yesterday from his son, of course, Kiefer Sutherland.
Also a good actor.
Very, very good actor. And it says, with a heavy heart, I tell you that my father, Donald Sutherland, has passed away. I personally think one of the most important actors in the history of film, never daunted by a role, good, bad, or ugly. He loved what he did. He did what he loved. No one can ever ask for more than that. A life well lived. Yeah, it was in the picture of Kiefer when he was a little boy next to him. It just killed me. My favorite role of his, I really liked him in A Time to Kill as the drunken attorney Lucian. I thought he was really good in that. But it was the professor in Animal House. I mean, he was spectacular in it. And he's smoking pot with all of the kids in his, apartment. And they're passing a joint around. And what's it get? Larry? What'd they call him? Not Flounder. The kind of the main character.
Why can't I think of it?
I can't remember.
You
He
asked me
says,
on a Friday.
He says, yeah, I'm working on a book. And he goes, oh, it must be wonderful. And Donald Sutherland says, it's a piece of ass. And it's the funniest, most under the radar. What is it?
Flounder.
Flounder.
It was
Yeah.
Flounder, yeah.
Yeah. It's the funniest, most underrated line. It's a piece of ass. Kills me. He was such a good actor. His monologue in JFK. Oh my God.
Sitting with on the bench with Kevin Costner there. Yeah.
Staggeringly great. So shout out to his family. And
Shout out to his family.
man, that's a hat tip. 88 years old. The cause of death listed was a long illness. So there you go. That's the Reindl Report. Thank you, Paulie.
All right. Is it? Are we nervous again? I know we always get
nervous.
a little bit.
Who's nervous?
A little bit. You get a little nervous.
I'm not nervous at all. I haven't been nervous in weeks.
You always get a little domed out.
I'm not domed out at all. Not
When
in the
Mike Shildt
slightest.
joins us on Friday
What
morning.
up, my dudes? How you doing?
Not even a little bit. He does not make me
I mean,
nervous.
you had a couple of weeks ago. There was a bit of a tense back and
But
forth.
I loved every second of
know.
it. I saw
know.
him later in the day, and I said, I loved that. Keep that coming. That's great. I'm going to get under his skin. He knows it's coming.
Definitely a mixed bag since last week.
Yeah.
Everything was pretty good last Friday. Then all of a sudden they lose 5 in a row, but come back with wins the last couple of days to steady the ship a little bit. We will chat with the skipper, Mike Shildt, our weekly manager's report to kick off the final hour of Ben and Woods on a Friday. That is coming up next, and we'll talk about today's game, continue the series, and just wrap everything up. So don't go anywhere. Mike Shildt is
You
just
sound
around the
nervous.
corner.
I'm not nervous. You
I'm
sound
not
very nervous.
I'm more. I mean, I don't. I feel like it's going to be fine. It's going to go well.
Oh, boy.
It's next. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Final hour of Ben and Woods on a Friday. City Connect Friday. Padres at home tonight, continuing their series against the Milwaukee Brewers. And it is time for our manager's report with Mike Shildt, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. We bring the skipper on board. Congratulations. You were right, Mike. It was historic last night. The first time in Padres franchise history, 3 straight walk-off home runs at Petco Park. Hey, that was a lot of fun.
A lot of fun, yeah. I've never experienced anything like that. So you felt like pretty rare. So, organization's been around for a while, but, man, pretty cool.
It's definitely cool, and I was, obviously watching the game last night, and I thought to myself when it happened, it was such a sigh of relief. I know you had to be feeling it too. I know Jeremiah Estrada probably feeling it as well, and what a gamer he was to step up last night and take the ball, Skip. And for you though, you know, and everybody knows that's not the best sustainable way to win baseball games in the future, but I'll sure take them over losses right now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear. Not sustainable, but, look, you win games in weird ways, and you play 162 games, man, you're going to have different kind of games. And I think we've all seen that following baseball over the years. And, it was a game we're just glad to come on the good side of.
Got home runs from both Manny and Tatis. I mean, that is such a welcome sight for Padres fans. But I want to talk about Jackson Merrill and this recent power surge because, I remember kind of hearing the scouting reports going, at some point in his career, this guy might, develop some power to go with all the other tools that he has, but didn't expect kind of to happen right away. 6 home runs in 8 games. Are you seeing anything, different from Jackson? Where is this coming from right now?
Jackson's throwback is kind of not a great way of describing it, but my point I'm getting at, first of all, he did something that only Willie Mays has done. God rest his soul. Passing of an obvious legend and a real miss for our game. But what an icon and what an example of greatness on and off the field. But what I'm getting at with Jackson, 100 years ago when I was doing this and the game was played a little differently and taught a little differently, right or wrong, in general, guys like Jackson or guys just in general would learn how to hit. They learn how to hit the ball the other way. They learn how to, be a good hitter. And then the power would come, and they would learn how to get comfortable and, pick their spots. And they had a stroke that allowed them to use the whole field, which allowed them to have consistent at bats. And then, as we all know, the game morphed into more of an all or nothing outcome. Well, in that case, I think Jackson's a little bit of a throwback. He's a guy that has really good bat-to-ball skills, values that, just trying to take good at-bats, getting his hits, getting on base, taking what the game gives him. And now is, maturing quickly, I would add into learning how to drive the ball. I don't like to compare players, but Jimmy Evans was like that. If you follow his career, didn't hit a lot of minor league homers, didn't hit a lot of power, and ended up becoming a borderline Hall of Famer, and a guy that ended up having some big moments with some big power. But he came up learning how to hit, and that was a little bit more of the way it used to be, and that's what Jackson has done.
Do you see it, Skip, getting back to that a little bit? I mean, you got guys like Stephen Kwan, you got guys like, your very own Luis Arraez, you got Jackson Merrill. Are you seeing maybe a little bit of a return to, hit first, power later?
I'm not seeing some kind of trend that I go, oh man, we're going back to that. I do see more of it. I do think the game, I haven't had as much touch points with them, being able to travel around and see minor leagues. And last offseason I didn't spend as much time as typical, and I will this year going to, a lot of my high school and coaching friends and seeing their programs and talking to them. Because I always typically do, talk to what the players are like and what's taking place and scouts and what's coming up, because that's the future of our game. And I'm always curious about, we say things trickle down, but really, players and philosophies and how amateurs are playing, a lot of that, how they're thinking, how they're being trained, that typically trickles up. So the point I'm getting is I don't know if it's taking place or trending in that direction. I do see some teams, us being one of them, having a little bit more of a holistic approach to hitting, using the whole field. So I do see that philosophy coming back a little bit in certain areas of the game. But I couldn't tell you if the players are trending that way or not.
Mike, I want to ask you about your bullpen. I made this point earlier that simply in terms of volume of games, you guys have played more than anybody else in baseball. Less off days, more games, quite a bit more than some teams, like 7 more than other teams at this point. I'm not saying that I'm not overreacting to 1 or 2 games this past week, but, your bullpen has been worked a lot. There's been some ups. There's been some downs. What are you kind of seeing in terms of how you can get a little more consistency out of the pen and are you anticipating a move to try to bring some reinforcements here?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into AJ's space about the move. I got my hands full as it is. He's on top of our club, and I like our club. This is something that you'll probably ask me in another 3 to 4 weeks, and I'll give a similar answer. But it's a legitimate question, and I get it. And it's a fairly, overall, it's a general question. I'll give you a simple, what I see as a simple and general answer. Bullpens are as good as the starting pitching. And that's just the fact of the matter, and when you have, not solely, I won't say that, so it'll be a longer answer, but at the starting point, if starters go deeper in games, then you keep your bullpen fresh. And when your bullpen's fresh, they're usually more efficient. Pretty common, right? Pretty basic.
Sure.
And, it's also interesting because rightfully so, so if you don't get starting pitching going past, 4 or 5 innings consistently, which I think 4 of our last starts, look, I like our starters. It's just, the other side's trying too. We face some good clubs, we've had some good approaches, they're competing their tail off, but, their bullets get spit, and then you get to a certain point in the game where you got to make a decision, and sometimes you ride your starter a little bit longer and because your bullpen is a little depleted. But you get 4 out of 5 games, and you're in your bullpen in the 4th or 5th inning, and you're in a stretch of games where, we had 13 day off, now we're 13. To your point, we played more games than anybody in the game, starting early with in Seoul. So, your bullpen's going to get a little taxed, and then you're going to, because of that, the dominoes get out of place a little bit in the sense of, giving guys rest. Like, it's just the case. The guys have to pitch and have to carry the mail. And, sometimes they're not as effective. And then the other side of that, on the bullpen side of it, that they have ownership in is, and we all have ownership in it, make sure they're put in the right place. But it's being efficient when they're in there. And when you're a little more fatigued or and I feel like we've done a good job outside of Jeremiah going 3 of passing the ball around and not trying to sacrifice, them for competition. And still try to win games, which, is clearly the end goal. Marrying those two is a Hatfield McCoy marriage some days. And so them being efficient allows them to be able to bounce back and not have to use another guy to get through it to win games. And, the wrap-up point about bullpens is, I say people understand, but in the moment or in a silo, I've said this before, and it's a great example. It was given to me more recently. It's in a video game, where, I can bring this guy in and he's fresh and he can just pitch. And these guys can't pitch every day. And like I said, we push guys, to go answer. And they know there's going to be times in the season relievers. Randy Choate, older left-hander reliever, used to have a T-shirt that said "Relievers are people too." And so it's a long answer to your question, but bullpen, that's broad strokes, simple way of putting it, and what can be somewhat a complex way of operating. But it's just interesting to me how people do view bullpens, and having done it for 25, 30 years, however long. It's that's my high level answer to it.
Talking to Mike Shildt, skipper of the San Diego Padres here on Ben and Woods this morning, and I'm typically the guy that I don't want to use the word blame, but I put the responsibility on the guys. Hey, can you go today? You can? Great. Give me what you got. Sometimes it doesn't work out. I tend to kind of put it on the players, the guys that are actually executing the pitches, and in some cases, Skip, not executing the pitches. I wanted to ask about one in particular. You've managed a lot of guys. You've managed a lot of left-handers out of the bullpen. A guy like Yuki Matsui, who early in the season, very, very effective and has maybe gotten a little less so, walking too many guys, I think, for probably everybody's liking right now. How do you get him back on track? And it's got to be a kind of a tougher call in a higher leverage situation for you to go to Yuki right now. How do you get him back going again?
Well, a couple things about the tougher call. I mean, I'm going to go back to my previous answer. It's not a silo of when you can put these guys in, right? So sometimes it's just you have 2 or 3 guys. That's the other thing that is super fun for my chair.
Sure.
Is when people are like, you can't pitch. No, I'm not talking about Yuki because I'll get to Yuki in a minute. Yuki's going to be fine. But it's just interesting when, this guy is pitching. There's not anybody else to pitch some days, and so that part's just a sidebar for my chair that's super fun.
I bet.
But anyway, Yuki, listen, he's similar to a fair amount of guys in our bullpen, and this is the other part that is just real. There's a learning curve. No one loves a learning curve in the big leagues on any team that's looking to compete. In any sport. No one wants to hear it. And I wish it didn't have to happen. But the fact of the matter is learning curves are real. And this is the top of the people's profession, and Yuki's come in and he's had some really good moments for us. And sometimes we forget those. And we do expect these guys to be absolutely on point every single time. We get frustrated when it doesn't happen. And I get it. People, we care. We all care. We want the best, and I expect the best. So don't misinterpret. But I'm also realistic that, he's been really good. He's helped us out in big spots this year. So I don't forget that and draw from that and draw from his experience in Japan being a closer. And then conversely, it's his first year in the big leagues. It's his first year, figuring out what this all looks like, figuring out the hitters. And oh, by the way, he's doing it in an entirely different culture. And that's the other thing that, I have the experience of understanding and seeing. And look, guys, I ain't making no excuse for anybody. We get it. It's a bottom line game. I understand that. But they are human, and he's in a different country, and he's making adjustments, in a lot of different areas. It takes a while, whether your player got traded, used to be in another team, become another country. There's just human. And so, Yuki's done well. He's also struggled with his consistency of his command. And that's the thing that he's working on the most. Is he trying too hard? Is he, still feeling out, what he's doing, certain role? All of that's true. But Yuki has got the stuff in the zone to get out, and we just need to find that more consistently.
I think that learning curve comment is so interesting because we're seeing it before our eyes with Matt Waldron. And you talk about needing, a little more length from your starting pitching. You're getting it from Matt Waldron, and he's the guy that I think as fans, we didn't really expect that much from this season. But in spring training, you and AJ and the team, you chose him to be your fifth starter at that point. Did you have an idea that this was possible, just based on what you saw from him, early on this spring?
Actually, yes.
Okay.
You see the best version of guys. Now, you mentioned Estrada. We do, you asked about Walter, but we sat down with Jeremiah and said, hey, man, you can be a really good eighth inning guy based on your stuff. So go, Ruben Niebla does a great job. Ben Fritz, our bullpen coach, is tremendous as well. Had a clear plan for him. So getting back to Matty, Matty's got an elite pitch that, when it's hard to catch, it's got to be hard to hit, right? I mean, you got a big league catcher, Higgins is his guy, and this guy's been in 17 years of professional baseball, and he does a great job with him. But occasionally it's like, he's hanging on he's just along for the ride with this thing and just trying to corral it. He does, like I said, he's done a great job, but hard to catch, hard to hit, man. And so, and it's an outlier pitch. These guys aren't in the big leagues, aren't seeing it every day. And plus, he's coupled with a good sweeper that he can throw, and he's got a legitimate fastball. It's 90-93 that he can keep people honest with, and he can locate because he's a strike thrower with it. So, man, what a great combination. So you just know, all right, if this guy can get through, some of the learning curves of, understanding what a big league starter looks like on a consistent basis, his routine, his pregame routine, and then the feeling out process of how much to throw it, how hard to throw it, when to mix his other pitches in, and he's able to get it in the zone, and you're starting to see what we're seeing now. So, that's the reason he's on the club.
Talking to the skipper, Mike Shildt, here on Ben and Woods this morning, and I know you're not on Twitter, but you know who John Boy Media is. I couldn't let you off the hook this morning without asking you about
he knew this was coming.
The lip-reading video. I'm sure you've seen it. I wonder if the players have asked you about it. I had to bring it up, your ejection in New York the other day. Have you seen this clip?
I have not.
Well, he hasn't seen it. Boy. I'll get it to you.
I have heard about it.
Okay, you have heard. All right. So you know what I'm talking about. I'm not completely going in blind here.
I know. Look, I was ejected. I know what I said. So
yeah, that's true. You didn't know that everyone else was going to know what you said, though.
That's exactly right. Do you feel a little violated by that whole thing?
I've gotten over that violation. I don't love it. I don't know how it was interpreted. The same guy, which he's doing his gig. Everybody's got a gig, and that's fine. He caught me in Chicago years ago in a similar fashion, so I know it exists. Maybe I've got to be, covering my mouth.
Mike, the title of the video was "Manager Politely Asks to Be Ejected."
Yeah, that was the title.
You're a nice man.
You're a nice guy. I mean,
it's not the worst thing.
It's nothing to apologize for, in my opinion.
I'm not. Yeah, I don't apologize. I mean, listen, I think you're asking the question. No, my take. I don't. Listen. Always have our guys' backs. I made it pretty clear using an expletive that typically comes out about the actual pitch.
Yes, you did.
Which Manny took exception with. I took exception with. I wanted it to be clear that there was an unhappiness that took place with the judgment. But then after that, it's like, look, I'm not going to, and sometimes I've got a good relationship in general with umpires, even though you probably see me yelling at them a lot.
Sure.
But overall, I've got a very respectful, rightfully, relationship with them. They have a hard job to do. And I grew up watching in shining shoes of umpires for, 6 years. And, hearing people yelling at them, banging on doors. And that was back in the day when, it was right beside a clubhouse and there was a little less security in Double-A. So I lived their lives and I empathize with the challenges they have. And so the point I'm ultimately getting at, I don't have a real reputation. I'll have someone else had one earlier. I'll probably have another where I'll really get into somebody if it's warranted. And yeah, it was warranted for the ejection and make sure that support our guy and make sure they know what we don't appreciate it. But my point is these guys won't throw. Not said they won't throw me out, but I gotta it's okay, man. You can. It's all right, So anyway, that was as much of what that looks like, and as Paul Harvey would say, now most of the rest.
Well,
of the
yeah,
story.
and our take was, people were worried. Was Manny really know that he's got his back?
Was Manny
he's
mad?
not really, really mad. And we both said Manny, more than any other player, knows how things work. I mean, Manny knows exactly how these things work.
See, I find it interesting that. I say it interesting. I don't know that the public opinion. People are clearly entitled to them. So it's interesting to me that people would even ask that because, Wayno texted me, day after or later that night, and whenever it came out, and he's like, "That's I won't share the text." He's like, "You always got your guys back, checked in on me, but yeah, this is you, and he was complimentary about how it went down, and he was complimentary about, taking care of Manny. So, it's interesting. Like, people can complain you didn't take care of him enough. Like, I should have.
No one
maybe.
doubts that you've got your players back,
Yeah.
Mike. That's the one thing no one could ever doubt. You've got your players back for sure.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate it as always. We joked you're actually tougher on the reporters and the radio people than you are on the umpires.
That's right. Keep it coming.
Wait a minute. The radio people. Wait a minute.
Here we go.
Hey,
there we go.
You guys need to be drug tested.
See, you're out of here.
Suffer on
You're
you.
gone.
That's true.
You're
actually.
gone. You've been ejected
Yeah.
from this interview, Mike.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're-
very
my
much.
gosh.
You wanted it.
You're on something.
You wanted it. Let's go. You're gone. Thanks
Good
so
luck
much,
tonight.
Skip. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thank
All right,
you.
See you.
There he is, the skipper, Mike Shildt, our manager's report, brought to you by San Diego County Credit Union. It's not big bank banking, it's better. Yeah, maybe that was the bad call that I just made, but it's his job to challenge the bad calls.
That's right.
Very fun conversation with Mike Shildt. We'll break down a little bit of what he had to say. I thought his bullpen comments were pretty interesting. I'd love to know what you think. Maybe we can get some phone calls in 833-288-0973. Oh, and maybe you should be calling now as well for a certain giveaway. All coming up back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. It's the one thing no one Congratulations to Mike. Not Mike Shildt, but Mike won the Doobie Brothers tickets, called in to win in our last segment. But our thanks again to the skipper, Mike Shildt. Always some playful back and forth on his weekly Manager's Report appearances. And thank you again to San Diego County Credit Union for making that possible.
Got a great tweet from our beloved Will Holder. He says, hearing Shilty talk makes me feel mean for my thoughts about our baseball team. Yeah.
Kind of, yes.
It does. It kind of makes you, I felt like when he started talking about Yuki, I went, all right, you're right. You got me. That's why I told him.
Who was the reliever with the relievers are people
Randy
too?
Choate.
Randy Choate. Yeah.
I was like,
relievers are people too.
I was like, okay, yeah, okay, you're right. Yep, new culture, kind of a rookie. Not kind of a rookie. All right, crap. My thoughts are impure, and I do apologize. No, I mean, look, he's right. He's got a different perspective. He sits in a different chair. He always will. But he's used the silo term before, and we've said it a billion times.
What does that mean to you?
It's easy to manage a bullpen in a silo, right? I mean, it's very, very simple.
Because in a silo, everything's contained. There's no outside factors.
Correct.
There's no injury. There's no overuse. There's no
flu.
There's no illness. It's just
nagging groin
very
injury,
simple.
right? Like there's just very simple in a silo. There is no worse gig in sports. None.
And what he
than
said
managing a bullpen. None.
About starting, bullpen's as good as your starting pitchers.
Absolutely
And lately,
right.
the Padres' starting pitchers, due to a number of factors, Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove going on the injured list, short performances by Randy Vasquez and Adam Mazur, and even, Michael King's pitching well, but didn't go deep because they worked him hard. Cease has been struggling. So other than Waldron, they're getting no length out of any of their starters, which means everybody's overused, and they have no off days to reset or give anybody a break.
Yep.
So I guess what you're saying is, of course his bullpen is struggling a little bit right now.
Satan's Blowfish is, in a silo, there's no getting sick. There's no feeling a little extra tired, no baby drama, nothing. Like, it's one of those things where you have to keep it in mind, but fans don't really want to. And I do get the sense, as much as it bugs him, that fans don't really want to. He does understand it. He's been around the game long enough that fans are fanatics, and we are insane. And we expect perfection and the best every single time. And, knowing it's impossible. You're chasing something that's a futile dream. Nobody's ever had a perfect bullpen. Never. It's never existed. There's been really good, effective bullpens. Nobody's ever been perfect. No closer has any closer ever gone like 56 and 56
for save opportunity?
Yeah.
I think Eric Gagne did once have that amazing season. Trevor's best was, what was he, 53 of 54 the
That's
year
damn
that he should have won
good.
the Cy Young?
And Robert Suarez may be there at the end of the year. He has had about as good of a year as you can imagine, but even he has faltered. So I can certainly appreciate that. I try to be semi-logical. It's hard when I'm watching. Easier when I'm talking about it. When I'm watching is when I lose it.
Dan in the chat says MLB screwed the Padres with the schedule this year. Well, remember, everything that goes around comes around. So while the Padres have played more games and taxed their bullpen more, theoretically at least, when you get to the second half of the season and other teams are going to have to make up those games and have less days off and use their bullpens more, the Padres will have more days off and will hopefully have a chance to be more fresh and take advantage and be in a good situation against the other teams that are coming in, and they just played 7 in a row and they just used their bullpens a ton, and the Padres are going, yeah, we just had 2 off days this week and we're feeling really good right now. So hopefully it all evens out later.
No matter what you do for a living, no matter what it is that you do for a living, we've all had those weeks. This week was one of them where you look at it on Monday and you go, If I can just get through this, and I may win some, I may lose some. I just got to get to this date. Then I'm feet are up, and it's easy street. And I do feel like Padres are in one of those stretches right now. Again, we've been saying it all year: hang around, hang around, hang around. It's not fun. It's not enjoyable winning one, losing one. It certainly wasn't enjoyable losing 5 in a row. That can't happen. But again, reinforcements potentially coming. Back with you, Darvish, and hopefully those guys can give that bullpen a little bit of a rest because they've earned it, man. They have. They deserved it. They were really, really good for a while, and they helped us win a lot of ball
but
games,
even when Yu comes back, he's probably going to be on a bit of a pitch count. They're still a little ways away from getting back to full strength rotation, which means then full strength bullpen as well. Did not address, he said, we'll leave it to AJ and the roster moves about whether Tom Cosgrove will be back today, but that is the word on the street that the Padres will make a move and bring Tom Cosgrove back to the bullpen to at least give Mike Shildt another option for at least tonight's game with that depleted pen.
All right. Well, we got one more segment. You guys thought you got off the hook today. You didn't. You and Paul.
Oh.
Yeah, you're not off the hook. I didn't forget. I don't forget anything.
Yeah, our CEO meeting yesterday.
Absolutely clowned out, the both of you. I'm furious. I've been furious for like 18 hours straight here. So I got to roast these two. If you listen to yesterday's opening segment, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, I'll reset the whole thing for you, and we'll preview tonight's game against the Milwaukee Brewers. A bunch of kiss asses I work with. This is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So disappointed.
I will defend myself.
Oh, I know.
Next on 97.3 The Fan.
Tell everybody your little nugget you're so delighted by.
I'm not delighted by it. I'm impressed. You might remember former PGA Tour player Dick Mast.
I do not remember Dick Mast.
Oh, he was a regular on tour for a while. He qualified for the Champions Tour event, 73 years old, and he qualified with the Monday qualifier, and now shot his one better than his age today in the first round of the Dick's Open.
What an Open. My favorite Open.
So if you want to keep an eye on Dick Mast and the Dick's Open this
like
week.
Dick's Sporting Goods?
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. They sponsor the tournament.
Okay. I did not know Dick.
We had some revelations yesterday around this place. I don't know if anyone caught the round table, but what ended up clearly being the highlight is we learned that Chris Ello used to deliver singing telegrams.
Did you hear this, Paulie?
No.
You didn't hear this? Yeah.
So you did not hear this?
I missed that part.
So the seventh inning stretch question was, "What's the worst job you've ever had?" And Woods told his story about selling inspirational art out of his trunk.
Success.
And then the tuxedo, the one day tuxedo rental
bit.
shop when he wrecked all the tuxedos. Craig was great. He talked about working at Soup Plantation and burning himself 12 times a day on the soups and the muffins.
He was very excited to get promoted to Muffin Man. And then he found the muffin tin, the muffin pans.
Just burn you like all the time.
Seared his arms. So he went home, his arms were covered in burns.
But then
Ello.
we get to Ello, and he goes, "Well, I don't think I've ever told anybody this, but during one of my summers at San Diego State, I needed a job, and for a couple of months, I delivered singing telegrams around San Diego."
But most interesting is that you had 5 get-ups to choose from.
Yeah.
And one was a cowboy. Okay.
You had to wear a costume.
Cowboy.
Knock on a door.
There was like
and then sing.
And then the one that was really interesting, Paulie, was like an Adam and Eve type bit where he was Adam in a bodysuit with a leaf covering his wiener. And he would have to go in and sing. And I said, "Oh my Lord." I looked at him and I like an alien. I go, "You did this. You did. Chris Ello. You went and did singing." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Whoa. Do you remember?" No, I don't remember any of it. I'm like, bull ass.
Now, of course.
You told me a young Chris Ello was like, "I heard that you were feeling ill."
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, my
yeah, well then,
God.
so then, Paulie, guess who was listening? Adam.
Oh.
"I will do anything. I need this. He tweeted about it.
Running.
He ran in. "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my God, what do I need to do to get you in?" Scravy went nuts with it, and Ello's like, "What did I do?
Oh boy.
What did I do?" And we had to move on in the roundtable. You know me. I would have interviewed him for an hour about it. I thought it was the most. It's riveting. Riveting. Like, he's had some cool stuff happen in his life. I mean, the guy, played
Tony Gwynn with Tony
Gwynn. That's
at San Diego State.
That's something to hang your hat on. This is more interesting to me.
It just was so out of character.
Of character.
Chris doesn't seem like the singing telegram sort.
"I will do anything and all. Anything you need. I'm going to go get a unitard right now." Paulie, go look at his Twitter.
Jeffrey says someone had a great comment. "Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my sweetie pie.
Hello, my ragtime gal." It was incredible. I mean, and you're like, wow, my story sucked compared to that. Ben's was refereeing little kids playing basketball.
Terrible
Like, how
compared
did
to
selling
everybody else's.
motivational posters like a cat hang in there? How did that get beat?
How did that get
buried?
Yeah, me in my soup, it was like an Impreza or something, or like something like that with a hatchback. And I remember one day I broke a bunch of them, so I had to pay for them. It was terrible. God. It was a terrible gig, but he was actually doing singing telegrams. But so yeah, he was. And now he doesn't have any pictures. He doesn't remember the name of the company.
Nothing.
No video. No.
Now this
nothing.
is 1981. We didn't just have camera phones everywhere to record these things.
It was great. It was a great story. But so we did the round table, and then I told you guys the story of what happened to me after. If you want to go back and listen, what happened to a friend of mine, 6 a.m. It was pretty heavy stuff. But we came back here. We had a meeting with our CEO, David Field. And the meeting started with our boss, Michael, calling us out with David because apparently he picked up David from the airport And they put on Ben and Woods, as we suspected they might. And they just happened to catch when we started talking about the meeting and how I said, look, it's 1:45 in the afternoon. I got here at 5. I just want to be at home. Don't ask any superfluous questions, all right?
I'm not going to, so quit asking.
The boss always has one or two that's, it's pre-scripted. And, let me ask you about this, right?
Right.
Oh, it's just off the cuff, right? So we knew that was coming. That's fine. You knew a salesperson was going to ask something. That's standard. But I said to my guys in here, Benny and Paulie, I said, you guys, we don't even have to worry about you guys asking a question because we're not going to ask anything. We just want to get out of there. Son of a bitch, if Ben didn't raise his hand and ask the first question. And now he
wasn't the first question.
No.
It was like the second question.
The first question among the two of you.
Yeah, but let me
Woods asked the first question, but he claims it was just a joke.
It was a bit.
Let me
explain. Let me explain. We got called out. And he said, so I'm sure Ben and Woods will have a lot of questions for you. I go, oh yeah. By the way, how is fourth quarter pacing? Like it was a joke. And I sat down, I shut my mouth. We all agreed that we were going to do.
It was strategic, though. The meeting was going too short.
Yes, I agree.
We were only like 15 minutes in, and I felt like
10. It was 10.
10 or something. I felt like if there wasn't one or two questions to keep it going, it was going to be very awkward.
But the point was to end the meeting. Nobody.
It wasn't going to just end there.
We never said
it wasn't just going to end.
Did I get on the air and say, hey, let's keep this thing going as long as we...
No.
I said, let's get out of here.
Here's the thing. The meetings that you're referring to are the ones that go about 45 minutes.
And then questions.
And then people start
yes,
asking
had
questions.
that happened, I would have been silent. But because we had
He
only gone
talked
like
for
12 minutes, and then he asked for some questions...
It was supposed to be an open
We needed
forum.
to get it to like 25 minutes just for everyone to feel satisfied and get out of there. So I tried to come up with something that would... keep it moving, but not derail the process.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
This is a terrible question.
It wasn't the best.
It was a horrible...
Paulie had a great question.
Paulie did. I want to get to his.
Paulie actually asked a phenomenal question.
But your question was terrible.
Well, actually, I got an answer to my question.
Not from
CEO
him.
wasn't the right guy, but Adam answered it. So my question was... And I thought the reason I thought he might be able to
terrible
It's
question.
not a question for the CEO.
Well, it
honestly.
wasn't, but I thought maybe he could have something to do with in terms of the negotiations with like Major League Baseball. When we play it's hard to when you play your app. It's hard to play the Padres games in San Diego because you like identified as outside the county. But Adam said they just had an update where if you turn on location settings in the Odyssey app, it should be able to play. So if you're ever like on a walk, trying to listen on your earbuds, and it's going, you can't listen because you're outside the market area. And I'm going, no, I'm not. I'm in San Diego. Now you should be able to do it. So I did get an answer at least.
Asking the CEO, hey, what headphones do you like?
Like I could have answered your question.
Fine.
That's an
Adam could have answered.
That's an MLB thing.
Adam did.
It has nothing to do
Paulie
with
had a
us.
great question, though.
Yeah, so then Ben has now broken the Ben and Woods seal, and it's free reign.
That's also part of what
it's
it was.
free reign to just fire questions at the CEO and extend our time. And Paulie did ask a good one. He said, asked about AI.
How does Odyssey plan to incorporate
or
AI or not incorporate AI? Because look, I'm not too worried about AI maybe doing our specific jobs. But man, if you're just spinning records and talking for 30 seconds in between them, I'd be pretty worried because I know that technology exists.
Katie
Traffic
asks,
reporters, that can be replaced by AI pretty damn quickly, and it's kind of scary.
Katie asks, so I'm in a meeting, I ask, could this have been a call? Then I ask, could this call be an email? Then I wonder if the email could have been a text. I think the answer, Katie, is yes to all of it. But listen, you got to put in the FaceTime as a CEO. But then we got down to a minute. We got down to the end of the meeting, and one of our sales guys raised his hand and asked about FM radio and AM radio in cars because his Tesla. Is not. They had to do an upgrade in his Tesla, and then our boss weighed in about his Tesla, and so then they looked at me. I was laughing. They looked at me, and I said, "I don't get the signal very well in my vacation beach home." And I said, "All you guys talking about your Tesla problems? I just want to go home." My boss, everyone looked at me like, "Oh, you're dead. You're dead." Cadillac problems. Well, actually, Tesla problems for all these people in their Teslas. So it ended. It was fine. It was not that long. 45 minutes, I think.
It was even less.
Even less. And then
They
we
fed
ate,
us.
Then
It
we
was
had
fine.
some food.
Yeah.
Then we went home.
But it's nice to know the CEO cares enough to come out all the way from Philadelphia and visit us.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't you want to visit?
Private plane or commercial? What are we thinking?
I don't want to know. I don't want to know, dude. I really don't want to know. But, yeah. Thank you, guys. You did. I kind of see your point now about, like, it was all right, 10 minutes. You wasted my time for this?
We've had the meetings where he has slides.
Yes.
And an agenda. And then if there's any time we'll get to some questions, that's when it's like, everybody shut the F up.
Yeah, everyone shut up.
This was like...
You guys might be right.
An open forum.
You might be right.
He
went
went
about a podcast.
He went about 8 minutes.
Looked
and
like Hosmer and Will Myers.
Now I want to hear from you guys. And
Right.
I'm like, all right.
All right, we got to check
Kiss
traffic
asses.
one more time. I think we're too late for things Ben likes,
We
but
are.
we'll take a look at tonight's game quickly when we come back on the other side of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Just a couple things wrapping up our morning drive. Collision at the clearing stage on southbound 15 just before Mira Mesa Boulevard. Also eastbound 52 before the 15. Collision involving a couple vehicles. That's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Padres go for their third win in a row. It is a 6:40 start again, 5:40 Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sam Levitt, City Connect Friday, as the Padres send Dylan Cease to the mound. And if they ever needed a 7-inning plus outing from Dylan Cease, today's the day. And don't know what exactly's been wrong with Dylan Cease, but whatever it is, really hope that today's the day that he gets back on track, because they really could use a long outing to rest that bullpen up, hopefully get a win, get back to 500, and once again have your opportunity to start making that run that they keep starting and then crashing back to earth and then starting it up and then back down again. So he'll be going up against Colin Ray. You might remember former Padre Colin Ray, who actually has a low 3 ERA and has been a nice stopgap for the Brewers in their injury-riddled rotation this year.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of those guys, you look at his numbers, you go, wow, 6-2 with a 3.29. He must be really, really good. He's a very average pitcher that's gotten very, very lucky this year. Not to take anything away from him. It's sometimes the name of the game. You know, it really is. But, you know, the guy sitting with a 3.29 ERA, Benny, his expected ERA is 5. You know, it's just... Things are going his way right now, so it's up to the San Diego Padres to be disruptive. He's a 5-pitch pitcher, so you're going actually 6-pitch pitcher right now, but he's heavy sinker, heavy cutter, heavy sweeper. So that's
but he is right-handed.
He's right-handed. So let's feast tonight at Petco
And the
Park.
Padres got Manny, Tatis home run.
Yep, let's go.
Jackson,
Keep it rolling.
Jake, keep it rolling tonight. If there's any update on the roster, if there's a move, I'm sure Annie and Elston will have it for you. They are coming up next. That's it for our adventurous week. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. We'll talk to you Monday morning at 6 a.m. right here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.